All right. Welcome to the garden, everybody. We're here for another Gardenside chat. It's been a little while. It's a hot summer day, close to 90-degree weather for weeks now. But we have a little bit of a break in the heat. I have a little bit of free time, and hopefully you have a little bit of free time. Have a very enigmatic guest today. Someone who doesn't come out very much. Um, Tends to kind of keep to themselves, but yet at the same time, they like to reach out to people, and I find that to be very interesting. We have this is Goblin, and this is Goblin. Ah, here we go.
Hey everybody.
Lights didn't work for a
Hey,
second there.
first time. That's okay. Here I am. Um, first time out of the cave. You finally got me out of the
Yeah,
goblin
yeah,
grotto.
I had to
You're the
coach
first
you out a
person.
bit, didn't
You
I?
are. You are. No, this is it. This is the first. You're the first person to get me out of the goblin grotto. So
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen sunlight in years and years and years, and here I am.
So how does it feel to be out on the town again?
Uh, I mean, this is still it feels like my kind of environment. I like the spooky trees back there, and
Mm-hmm.
still feels very like within my wheelhouse. I like it though.
Mm.
And thank you. You kind of convinced me to bring Skull out too. I
Yeah, I'm
originally
sorry, I
was like, nah,
completely
just
blanked
me.
on your
Forget
friend
Skull.
there. Yeah.
No, I mean,
Oh,
trust me.
Skull,
You
Skull,
don't
is your
need to
mic
introduce
working?
him.
Is your mic working, Skull?
No,
Oh,
it is not.
his
I,
mic
I,
isn't
I've
working.
told him. I told him to keep his mouth shut, to be extra quiet.
Uh-huh.
Do not speak unless spoken to.
Okay, well, I can hear you. Just the audience won't be able to hear you. Sorry, Scully.
But yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it. Really enjoyed our interactions. In chat, in stream, and also on Twitter. You always make me laugh, so I was very excited to speak to you on stream. And you've always got some good one-liners, so I was like, yeah, I want to hang with Belrose.
A good sense of humor will go a long way with me.
It does.
So, yeah. Oh, hey, Christy. Hey, good to see you, Christy. Christy's a regular here. Good person.
Hey, Christy. How's
but-
it going? Good to see you.
Yeah, we have, I guess maybe we should talk a little bit about what happened yesterday. Yesterday being the time that I coached you out of the cave, and we actually had a kind of conversation by ourselves there where we kind of got to know each other, and we kind of really hit it off, I think.
Yeah, it was nice, actually. It was really nice. It was kind of like our first actual conversation, just aside from like Twitter banter and stuff. But
Mhm.
no, enjoyed it, and thank you for helping me get set up. Like, again, this is my first time on someone else's stream as a guest. I apologize to the viewers. I'm a little crunchy. I don't know why Chroma Key did not like me. Not to break the illusion, but I promise my model was not built in MS Paint. Promise.
So you are actually made out of, was it Illustrator or what was it?
It's like a multi-step. So I use Adobe Character Animator is, how my rig is made.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I would say I'm pretty much like a PNG tuber, maybe like one step above with all my little, the variety of the
I think they call those
animation
toon
toggles I
tubers,
have and
because
stuff.
there are people that have like toon
Yeah.
tubers that are like somewhere between a PNG and somewhere between a
Yeah,
animation.
there are so many titles, it's hard to keep track. But yeah, so I have a lot of little like hand animation. I have a whole bunch of
Oh, that's a new one. I
toggles.
haven't seen
get,
that.
I can get real weird.
Oh, I can do that too.
You're not a VTuber without some boob physics, so I had
Yeah.
to make sure to get that in there. But yeah, we're shapeshifters. Goblins are shapeshifters.
Oh,
so I had to
are
make sure
they?
that
Are
was
they really?
represented? Yeah. I'm
I
trying
didn't know
to, represent the shapeshifters out there. I don't think all of them are, but I think a lot of them are.
I didn't really know that. So I guess we could talk a little bit about goblins, right? Because goblins they're everywhere in media. There's, they're on trading cards, they're in movies, they're in fairy tales. They're in video games, obviously, a lot. So when I think of goblins, I think of, they're obviously very small, which you're kind of on the largest side of small, I think, is what I would say.
I have never been next to another VTuber ever. So actually, I kind of loving this right now. I really love our scale right now. I love that I'm just because I've always imagined or myself to be like a little guy. So it's just kind of fun to see it all happening for real now.
Like, we don't have an actual human here for like scale, do we? Do we? No.
Yeah, that's true.
No, we don't.
How large? How large are you exactly? How tall?
I mean, I
is
would
tall
say that standing height, quotation standing, I would say 5'7" or so, 5'6".
That's a good height. You're a good height.
Yeah.
Look at you. You look great.
Yeah. Oh, well, thank you.
You look great.
Yeah, it took a while to, get to this point, so I'm pretty proud of it.
You look great. Yeah, no, I love it. I love seeing us together here, and I love your model. I've always loved your whole vibe. I come from an animation background, and the sign of a good design is always a strong silhouette, right? Like,
yeah, there's the silhouette check, right?
Yeah, the silhouette check. I loved your starting screen for stream, and there is no mistaking Belrose. Like, you're a VTuber who, even in silhouette, we're gonna know exactly who you are. So, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 design. I like it. Goblin approved.
Well, I think that you have a quite handsome silhouette too. You have kind of a triangle shape going on with your head and ears.
I like simplicity of design. Again, not to break the illusion here. I mean, I was born this way.
Hey, you can break it as much as you want. It's like mask on, mask off, mask on, mask off.
Back and forth. Sometimes I'm in character, and then in the very next sentence I break character.
I mean, we could probably talk about that a little bit
design.
Too. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. No, I've always liked saying a lot with a little, and that's kind of my vibe. Is I wouldn't say minimalism, but I like simplicity of design and just saying a lot with a little, and just kind of bold graphic shapes.
Well, I have kind of a I guess you could call it a gripe or a nitpick or just like an opinion about the VTube community is like, and I guess you could kind of look at things like Genshin Impact or other Hoyoverse stuff, where all the characters are very intricately designed. Like, I would say over-designed in some cases. And when all your characters have these very complex designs, it all just kind of like runs together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I mean, it's all personal preference. There's never any right or wrong with design.
Yeah.
I think also though, like, yeah, it's crazy to see some people's live 2D models. They have like all these little bells and whistles just hanging from them, and it's crazy. Sometimes it's just like sensory overload in a good way. It is. I don't know. I just love seeing what everybody does. Everybody has such.
I've seen some very interesting designs. Like I was saying to Goblin yesterday, there's one person out there that's like a chair, like literally just a chair.
I love that. You have to send me a link to them because that is pretty genius.
We do have a lot of
towards those sort of like weird niche designs. I like that stuff.
Well, we do have a few mimics in the community. Like we've got the classic kind of treasure chest mimic. We've got like shadow mimics, like an alien, like slime kind of thing. That's what I like. I like to reach out and talk to monsters.
Goblins are considered monsters, right?
I think so. Like, I strictly speaking, I think anything that's not a human could be considered as a monster. Like, if you look at a platypus, like, it's a freakish animal. Like, it might as well be a monster.
They are, sort of the science experiment gone wrong.
Yeah, they're like the really weird, the kind of nerd of the animal kingdom.
Aren't they? Wait, aren't they like technically mammals, but they lay eggs?
So, the female platypus is a mammal that lays eggs. The male platypus has venom from a hind spur. And
Jesus, wow.
a platypus venom, platypus is real cute and you want to go up and pet it. Platypus venom will fuck you up. It will absolutely...
Really? I
No,
didn't know that.
platypus
I didn't know they're
venom
venomous.
is extremely painful, and the pain can last for, like, months.
That's crazy. They're just kind of like the roulette of the animal kingdom, just a complete mashup of bizarre
I mean,
traits.
there's some
Love
stuff
that. I
about
didn't
them
know
that
they're
we just
venomous.
don't even know why. Like, they glow under UV light, and we have no idea why.
Really?
Yes.
How are you so knowledgeable about platypuses, platypi? That's what I want to know. That's amazing.
Well, I've got a friend that's a platypus.
Oh, okay, there you go.
Yeah, but also,
That makes sense.
I kind of fell into this thing called Tier Zoo, which it's a person that does these nature documentaries, but they put it behind the veneer of like a video game stuff. So it's like, if they're talking about birds, they're talking about like, oh, the bird players that are in the African server during the Cretaceous expansion, and that kind of, it's a guilty pleasure.
I love that.
Also, hello to Dee
Hi,
Rich
Girl.
Dee Rich Girl.
Yeah,
Very,
Dee Rich Girl.
very special lady. Very special lady.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Welcome, special lady.
I always say that she's a very special lady. We have a cute little goblin here talking to us. Not like the goblin from the Labyrinth. Those goblins are fairly different, I think. You don't sing, do you?
I would say that I do not. I'm still like a mischievous little guy, you know.
Is that so?
Yeah, I would say that that's sort of. I'm a little more chill, I think, than most goblins. I don't really have as much of that like manic energy. But
yeah, a lot of goblins have that kind of
trickster
kind of
energy. I'm like a low-key trickster. If you see my stream, it'll all make sense. But yeah.
Oh, they're talking about my doggy. Doggy's fine.
Wow.
Doggy's fine. You got a pet? You got any pets in that cave of yours, Goblin?
I do. I have a dog, and her birthday is actually tomorrow, so I'm going to be taking her to the dog beach and let her eat a cheeseburger on the beach. It's going to be a good time.
Aw. We don't know when our dog's birthday
like
is because she's a rescue.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Well, then you can pick it. You can pick any day.
I guess I
Every day is her
could,
birthday.
yeah.
Why not?
I don't know. Parents want me to do something special for my dog's anniversary, which I guess is technically her birthday in some way.
Yeah, like her adoption day, right?
Adoption day.
That's sort of like a, yeah.
But I don't know. It's a little much, I think, to get a little doggy birthday. I'll probably do something special for her, give her like a treat or something.
I'm a real sentimental fuck when it comes to my dog. I spoil that dog, and yeah, literally, I'm gonna be taking her to the beach to let her eat a cheeseburger.
You say it's a dog beach.
It is. Well, I mean,
what's the difference between a
like...
human beach and a dog beach?
It's just a beach where dogs are allowed. There are a lot of beaches in California that you are not allowed to bring a dog on. You know, they just don't want. They don't want it to turn into like a litter box, I guess. So they're basically, it's a beach where you're allowed to let your dog take a shit on it. That's basically what a dog beach is, a poo friendly.
Well, aren't you allowed to let your dog take a shit anywhere as long as you just like pick it up?
You would think so, but yeah, no, I don't know. There's just it's California. It's,
I don't know. I'm over on the other side of the continent, so maybe things are different there.
There's like a handful of beaches that are known as dog beaches that are just dog friendly. Most places they don't want you taking your dog out there. I think it's also just not to disturb other people that are on the beach, and I think it's a mess thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't pick up after their dogs, so.
Oh yeah, a lot of people don't. I mean, I don't, but that's because she just shits in my yard. So it's like my yard already has shit in it. So it's like, what's a little more shit?
What's one more?
Yeah,
exactly.
What's another turd on the turd pile?
Absolutely.
So
Yeah, no, I'm the kind of guy who like makes an event of my dog's birthday. Unfortunately, I know it's
a
a little
little.
overbearing,
Well,
but
I mean, you love your dog, don't you?
oh, I do. I mean, I'm sure you do too, but
Oh,
I just
I
like to
love
do
her.
it.
I absolutely love her. Like she is just the sweetest thing. But I think maybe we should at least tell the people what you do, because you do things um, inside the
Sort
cave.
of.
Yeah.
I
So
do I
so
do
tell us
things.
what you
I
do.
dabble in things.
Yeah.
So yeah, hello to all your viewers. Thank you again for having me on. But I am Goblin. I am a goblin, and this little guy here is Skull. And our channel is, I would say I'm a variety streamer. We do a lot of just chatting and hanging out, but then I typically have a guest on stream as well, and my guests are typically people with strange and unusual personalities, unique people, and usually they're somehow related to the paranormal, but not always. I've had
Well,
a
you've had
birthday
clowns on
clown,
before,
a mall
and
Santa.
that's very
Yeah,
paranormal.
I mean, clowns, yeah, are arguably pretty paranormal. I've had cryptozoologist, a psychic, um, but then I've also had people on like Pan Mom or a 96-year-old man, 96-year-old Sour
Sour
Joe.
Joe, what a
Um,
name!
I'm very into surrealist and absurdist kind of humor. So I also had, I don't know if you're familiar, but I had Longmont Potion Castle on one episode, who is um, probably like the Pablo Picasso of prank phone calls on stream, which that was like speaking to the president for me. That was like a heavy hitter A-list guest for
When you
us
say the
on our
Pablo
little
Picasso
operation.
of prank phone calls, are you saying that they are well executed in sort of a surrealist kind of way, like he would call somebody and then like ask where his pizza was or something, or like order a pizza?
Correct. I mean, have you heard of Longmont Potion Castle before?
No, no.
I would, if you're into absurdist humor, surrealist humor, I would highly recommend him. He's an anonymous surrealist prank phone caller who has been doing it since the 80s, and he releases an album every single year like clockwork for like decades. And he somehow gets the phone numbers of a lot of prominent figures, a lot of celebrities and stuff like that. He's a musician, I believe. I think he's like a metal musician, and so I'm sure he has some kind of connections. But his calls, I like them because they're not mean spirited, like, and that's sort of something I try to avoid on my stream too.
Yeah. Like I
He's
didn't
very
really
like,
like enjoy the phone call. Like in general, I don't enjoy prank phone calls because a lot of them do seem kind of mean spirited, or it's against somebody that's just like I don't know. I don't like it when retail workers get called for that stuff, and it seems like retail workers are the ones
yes.
that get called mostly.
Sometimes if yeah, it's very feels like exploitative, and that's the same reason I hate like those like prank TikTokers or whatever, because yeah, it's usually preying on people that are like working at like a that are on the job, that are working like retail or like at a fast food place, and it's like don't give them shit. Like,
No, yeah.
so the reason why I like him is because his calls are very innocuous. Like he will just call up people with very. He'll usually say he's like a neighbor and then ask for a really mildly innocuous, mildly inconvenient favor, and it's funny. I feel like his phone calls. I could talk about him forever. I feel like his phone calls are like a social experiment, and they kind of prove how close like confusion, the emotion of confusion, is related to like unbridled rage, because he will just ask people the most harmless things and they will just flip the fuck out, and it's great. But he also, for years and years and years, he called Alex Trebek, and Alex Trebek would never change his number. And he would connect Alex Trebek with like just random local businesses and stuff like that, and they would just end up having like a conversation. It's very strange. It's very surreal. There's never really a point to the calls or a true punchline. It's just a bizarre matching of
Yeah,
people,
it's just like
usually.
a weird thing that happens.
Exactly, and that's kind of like what I go for with my stream. I'm very careful. That was a conscious decision I made in the beginning. I never wanted to have fun at anyone's expense. The humor I want to come from the absurdity of our conversation, the context of our conversation, and what we're talking about.
Hmm.
By just matching an eclectic person with a cartoon goblin, and just
Right.
kind of see what happens.
And we kind of talked
But
about
yeah,
this yesterday, but a lot of them, they seem to be of the older generation, and they don't quite get what VTubing is, or like this live radio show that you're doing, or that you're puppeteering a goblin, basically.
yeah, they usually sometimes I'll send them if they're interested. I'll send them a clip afterwards, and they're always, they're never brought on against their will. They always know just enough information. They know that they're on a live stream. They know that they're talking to a cartoon goblin. I don't know that they fully grasp it sometimes, but one of my favorite moments was just trying to explain VTubing to Sour Joe, who is the 96-year-old gentleman that I talk to on stream sometimes. And my premise with him was he was my New Year stream, and I wanted some life advice, from someone with maximum wisdom. So I found the oldest person I could to call up, and Joe graciously, agreed to come on stream and gave us, his advice, which
Can you
a 96-year-old.
can you relay a little bit of that advice for us?
It was exactly what you would expect from a 96-year-old. Most of it was that our generation are lazy,
Yeah.
and
Oh, okay.
useless, and that I need to get a real job. And then we were talking about VTubing, and I was trying to convince him that VTubing is a real job, and he wasn't going for it. He wasn't falling for that. But ultimately, he did not understand. So I basically just told him, like, you're on the radio. We're on AM radio right now. Close enough.
You know those Wilkins coffee ads? It's basically like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I had to kind of frame it in a way that,
In a way that could be understood. So, like, how do you
He was
just?
great.
You
He
say
gave
you
us,
just
relationship
found
advice.
Yeah.
No, he was great. He gave us, we were asking him just for life advice. Chat and I, he was giving us relationship advice, which was actually really wholesome. He had some really, really sweet, wholesome moments, and then he had some very unhinged, politically incorrect moments that you would expect from a 96-year-old, which,
Yeah.
it's part of the humor. But I just love talking to interesting people. That's sort of what we go for. I call them, eclectic personalities is kind of what we're going for.
Eccentric a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, people with eccentricity. I've always been drawn to that. Like, I grew up, I loved, like, the Tom Green Show, and I love,
Yes,
like,
my people. Like, when I was a
Public
teenager,
Access.
I thought Tom Green was the most hilarious fucking thing I'd ever seen in my entire life.
Same.
Like,
And I still appreciate him, but now on a new level.
Mhm.
And some of my favorite bits of his were when he would just be out on the street in Canada, up in Ottawa, and he would just find somebody. Like, there's a segment I love where he just approached this elderly Aboriginal woman, and they just started throat singing together, and that was the whole segment, was just him and her kind of going back and forth, just doing like this on the spot, random off the cuff throat singing. And I love that. I thought that was, like, brilliant and funny. And again, he's not, like, mocking them. He's just having a strange moment with someone you would not expect him to interact with. You know what I mean? So it's like this young, weird guy, gangly Tom Green with an elderly, Aboriginal woman, and they're just throat singing for like 5 minutes, and that was the whole segment. And I'm like, yeah, I like this.
Elderly people
This is
are
entertaining
fun.
to me. They're very unapologetically themselves.
Like,
they don't
I
give a
spent
fuck.
a little bit of time in Japan some time ago, and I was right near the shopping district, which was Shibuya. And I remember there were street performers out there, kind of like playing guitar or playing some sort of instrument. And I was just kind of standing there watching. And this old man comes by, walks by, and when you're old, you kind of hunched over, and he's got like a walking stick, and he just starts dancing to the street performer, and
I love
he
that.
doesn't like bust out like some amazing moves. He just kind of does a little old man dance that
Hmm.
I loved it.
I like that. That's sort of my channel's got a flavor of people watching. Um, I just let it go off the rails. It usually does. There's no real direction. I usually have some, planned questions to ask the guest, but whatever direction they want to take it in, I just kind of let them go.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
the more off the rails it goes, the more I kind of enjoy it. So
I mean, it does have kind of a space ghost kind of feel, is what I likened it to.
thank you. I really appreciate that. A lot of people have drawn that comparison, and I'm very flattered by that because, yeah, I love Space Ghost. I kind of, again, grew up with Adult Swim. So, again, I like that very sort of like abstract type of humor. But yeah, Space Ghost is another one where, it's situational. They're not mocking the guest. He's not having fun at expense of the guest. It's just a bizarre situation that you're watching unfold, and that's kind of what I'm going for.
Hmm. So, what made you want to start doing that? Because that seems like a very specific thing to decide to do. It doesn't seem like an off the cuff thing.
Um, that's a good question. I mean, my stream, and I feel like all my favorite VTubers and streamers are people that are clearly just doing something that tickles them, that they're entertained by, and that sort of their enthusiasm and passion for whatever that may be, as strange as it may be, is very infectious, and I enjoy that. So, I'm not a gamer. I'm not. Um, I don't have a lot of the interests that you would typically find with Twitch streamers. So again, I just kind of made a stream that I thought I would want to watch, and it pays homage to a lot of things I enjoy. I love Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Mm-hmm.
I love Space Ghost. I love Tom Green Show when I was growing up, and like I always loved watching like late night television when I was a kid, and I always loved watching, like, even as a kid. I know it's strange for a kid, but I loved watching public access TV, and just like I liked watching the things that felt like no one else was watching. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my goal with my stream, is to be as niche as fucking possible. But it's just basically a love letter to my interests
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's
and things I find entertaining.
I think it's something that really stands out um, among the kind of streaming scene. Um,
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And like I said, like I was very excited to talk to you today because I've really enjoyed talking to you. You have a great sense of humor. Our banter is always your comments and our banter on Twitter always makes me laugh. And you had some really funny one-liners and questions for Tan Mom in my most recent stream. You were cracking me up. Your Tan Mom had mentioned getting in a tanning bed with a gentleman suitor of hers, and you called it panini press, and that was the best comment of stream for sure. That made me laugh.
I mean, I try not to do that in an obnoxious way because,
No,
like
I love it.
when you get
No,
to like a certain point where you have like a bunch of regular people coming in, you get kind of like the little problems with the chat. Like you get people kind of oversharing, or you get people that it's open mic night and they want to just kind of almost upstage the person doing the show. Um, so
I
I
actually
yeah
don't mind that. I'm
no
not gonna lie. I really thrive on the chat engagement and involvement. I feel like if people are having fun or they're feeling inspired to contribute in some way, that makes me happy. I enjoy that.
mm-hmm.
And I always, I some of my favorite streams are the ones where chat is like a character in the stream. Like I love Jal. Speaking of like absurdists, do you watch Jal's stream?
Are you saying Joel?
Jall, Jall.
No, the thing is, we kind of touched on this yesterday. I work a 9 to 5. You work a job with a similar kind of hours, and I don't have time in the day
You
to
do.
watch very many streams. Like
I don't
I,
either. I wish I could watch more. I make
mm,
an effort to because it is very inspiring to see what other people are doing. But Jal, when I do catch a stream, Jal is one that I enjoy, and I highly recommend it. It is the most chaotic stream I have ever seen in my entire life. Like, it is sensory overload. He has like 1,000 redeems and triggers, chat triggers, and it's just chaos. Like, you can't even hear what he's saying half the time because chat is just spamming. And his redeems are hilarious and they're really creative. And it's almost like, I don't know how to describe his channel. It's like unlike anything I've seen, but I recommend it if you're into that kind of stuff because you can't watch it for too long because it is a sensory overload, but it's fucking fascinating and it is just complete artistic chaos. And again, like, chat is very involved in that stream, and chat is very influential and very disruptive, but he's encouraging it, and it's that disruption that kind of has become his brand, you know.
mm-hmm.
And same, like, no, I would never be offended. Like, it made me happy to hear you like asking questions to to Tan Mom, and yeah, you always have a good one liner. And no, that never bothers me. I never feel like it's intrusive. I enjoy that kind of engagement, and that's my favorite part of all of this is just connecting with people like you and the community of it.
Oh, that's very sweet to say. Yeah, obviously, like, not everyone is like that, but I'm glad that you kind of see it as like a sort of an interaction kind of thing. I'd like to get a little more interaction going because I think people like to know that they've like kind of influenced things, even if they're in like small,
Yeah,
um, almost inconsequential ways, almost.
and that's sort of the appeal of streaming too, for me anyways, is the interactive element of you're watching something live, anything can happen, and even as a viewer you can have an influence on the what you're watching, which maybe I have a little bit of I mean, look at me and what I do. I have a little bit of a troll kind of flavor. I appreciate trolling when it's done not when it's not mean spirited. I can appreciate a good
Yeah,
troll.
definitely. Yeah.
And I kind of embrace that stuff, and I like that. But yeah, no, it's not for every stream because I know some streams have a little more of like a structure to them, and yeah, if people are being rude or people are being or hijacking things or derailing things in a destructive way, obviously I don't get behind that. But when it's additive, yeah, for sure. That butterfly's attacking you.
Sorry, what? I got a little distracted.
Chomp.
Sorry.
Skull
Ah.
needs one. You gotta fly right in there.
Mm-hmm. I say you keep your mouth open long enough, something will fly in.
All right, you hear that, Skull? Keep it open. Keep
Oh
that
yeah,
yap
we've
open and you
kind of just
might
been
get a treat.
ignoring Skull here a little bit. I did kind of want you to bring Skull.
Look,
I wanted you to bring Skull around because I think that he doesn't realize that he's as handsome as he is.
people say that. I mean, I don't see it. He doesn't really do. I mean, I'm doing all the heavy lifting. He's just kind of riding my coattails at this point. So,
Well, I mean, you're
I
good
don't
friends
know.
though, right? He wouldn't. I don't think that he would do that, right?
Look, I mean, I live in a cave. He's, I found him decades ago, just in a corner of the cave, and I guess we've been friends ever since. But
Well, hang on. You're saying that he's riding your coattails? Is that what you said?
yeah,
Well, I mean, you found
yeah,
him in the
absolutely.
cave. It's
He
his
would be
cave.
nothing.
You're the
He
one
would
that's
be
bumming
nothing.
off
He
him.
would still be literally under a rock if it wasn't.
You're crashing in his house, is what you're doing.
I guess. I don't know. We still don't know. Everyone's always curious about Skull's lore, and I'm not even sure myself. he tries to communicate, but I'm never really quite sure what he's saying. I'm not totally sure what his story was. We kind of come up with a new backstory every stream. We've been trying to unfold who or what Skull is and what his life was like before, I brought him into the limelight.
Right. So you say that you found him. How did you find him? Was he in like an embarrassing position, or?
I mean, I live deep below Los Angeles. I live in one of the fault lines of Los Angeles. And,
well, that's your fault.
It was just kind of like when I was scouting locations for the stream, I was just kind of like, wandering aimlessly through all the caves and everything. And there he was. And at first it just seemed like he would be good set dressing, but I guess he's alive. I don't really know what his deal is, if he's enchanted or alive or even truly conscious. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean,
he may just be a figment of my imagination. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, I'm seeing him. He's definitely, there's something in there,
I mean, shared delusions are a thing, so I don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, one person seeing a talking skull, I could, that's a coincidence. Two of them, that sounds like a pattern. And is it really so hard to believe?
A little more. I guess I don't want to give him too much credit. I don't want it to go to his head.
I mean, where else is it going to go, though? It
already is. That's true. That is a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we might learn more about him in upcoming streams, but I kind of like the mystery,
the mystique. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, listen, if he ever needs,
that's his appeal. I think that's why he has a lot of fans. I think he's that mysterious, strong, silent type. Whereas I don't shut the fuck up. So,
well, if he ever needs a makeover, just bring him to me. I think we can do a lot here.
Deal. Yeah, I think so too.
He's like a blank.
He's setting the mood right now.
Like a blank slate.
Yeah, have at him. He could use a makeover, I think.
So we had somebody send in a question before we went on the show because they unfortunately couldn't make it. But they asked us what you thought of the phrase going goblin mode.
Goblin mode?
Yeah. Because...
Well, thank you to your viewer for the question. I don't know. Goblin mode, again, like, I don't think I'm a traditional goblin in that I don't have that, like, manic energy. I'm a little more of a leisurely goblin. Goblin mode for me is staring at the wall, That's me being unapologetically myself.
So I think that for you, goblin mode is just going deeper into like almost kind of a Zen or comatose kind of thing, where it's just like
pretty much
almost like you ate an edible.
I mean, I'm very reclusive. The fact that you got me out of the Goblin Grotto is kind of amazing. Like I said, this is my first time out of my my cave and into the surface world in a long time. So,
well, it's actually kind of beautiful out here if you ignore all the chaos.
It's okay, I guess.
Yeah.
All this fresh air. I don't know. I kind of miss the funk of my cave, but
is it a funky cave?
Oh my god, are you kidding me? It's just me and Skull in there. Of course it is.
It's
very poor
a
ventilation.
Funky bachelor
a lot of black
pad.
mold. Yeah, a lot of black mold. No proper plumbing. It's a fucking mess.
Would you say, and I had this on my mind earlier, would you say the goblins are portrayed fairly in the media?
I'm actually
because I remember we spoke
yes,
shortly. You talked to Santa Claus, I believe, or someone who either dressed as Santa or was in close contact with Santa. And you made the suggestion that goblins could work at Santa's workshop, either alongside or as a replacement for elves, I believe.
I didn't even want to replace the elves. I just asked him if he would ever even just consider hiring a goblin. And let me tell you, Santa Claus is very discriminatory, guys. Bad news.
Yeah,
Santa's a bigot.
your problematic fave.
He. Oh, very much. He completely shot that down. He was almost insulted that I would even ask, and he said that our kind is not reliable,
Oh my
and
goodness.
he really like kind of laid into the goblin race, and I was kind of shocked by that. I thought Santa was all about like love and
Well, Santa loves
inclusivity, but
human
evidently
children.
not.
You know, I don't get jack from Santa. Um, but
It was
that
he
kind
was
of
genuinely, when I asked him that question, he was thrown. He was like offended that I would.
like, how dare? How would you even consider?
It
Um,
was. There was a lot of like indignance in his voice. It was very like
do you
it
think
was
that a
really
lot
funny.
that comes from like unfair portrayal in the media? Because like there is the whole going goblin mode thing, and the quote unquote manic energy that they're usually depicted with. Goblins are
Yeah, I think it's a
sometimes
little
predicted as
unfair.
like being very like mechanically inclined. I think like the kind of tinker kind of goblins.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of unfair stereotypes. I mean, but don't forget, David Bowie is a goblin. He's one of us. He's our
Oh
king.
yeah, I mean we
Um,
mentioned Labyrinth earlier, but I loved that movie. Did you know that was based on a true story?
yeah. Yes, I
It's
did.
actually a documentary. David Bowie
Hmm.
graciously allowed the cameraman into his labyrinth to shoot all the
I
nooks and
mean,
crannies.
I'm glad he came out as one of us, and he did a lot for Goblin kind by,
Mm-hmm.
you know, outing himself as a goblin.
I like
I
just the
really
pipes
appreciate
on
that.
that guy.
Oh yeah, and those crystals, the way he handles a crystal ball, let me
Uh
tell you,
huh.
whatever those things were.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean,
yeah, I
just
don't know, like
if we could have
the
met him, you know.
if only. Oh yeah, I'm sure he would have been thrilled to be a guest on This Is Goblin, but no, you know what? Actually, it's kind of funny. I am still very pleasantly surprised and shocked, like how prevalent goblins are in the VTubing community. I had no idea that goblins were such a thing when I started. But I kind of like it. There's a really fantastic goblin community
There are a lot of
within
goblins.
VTubing. I had no idea. I honestly had no idea. Like here, another uh, immersion break, but I had this design, this character design. I had drawn Goblin years and years and years ago, and I always liked the design, and I was always like, put a pin in this. I might use him for something one day. And when I decided to sort of experiment with VTubing and give it a shot, the first character design that popped in my head was Goblin, and I was like, okay, this was the part he was born to play, and I finally had a use for him. But yeah, he was just sitting on a hard drive for like a decade.
Really,
Yeah,
you could say he was sitting in a cave for years.
pretty much. Yeah, just waiting for the right time to emerge. But yeah, it was just a design where I was like, oh, and I kind of knew I wanted to do like a talk show vibe, and I kind of knew I wanted to talk to eccentric people and all that kind of stuff. So it just seemed to make sense to have like a little scrungly,
Yeah.
scrungly goblin.
I mean, a lot of people will say
interviewing
that
me.
we're like humans but weird. They call it humanoid. Um,
Yeah,
which
exactly.
it's kind of weird. They have to relate everything back to themselves. Um,
I know. I know.
but you know, there's a lot of goblins in the VTuber community. There's like I know that Honey Goblin is a rather famous one. I think um, she's very expressive. She has a very sweet voice, um, and I think that you would like her. There's like Bean
I would love
Goblin.
to. I'm sure I've seen. I have to check her out. I'm sure I've seen her around. But yeah, there's a huge. It's hard to keep track of them all. But one of my early streams, I had Twixie Gobbo and her community just randomly come into my stream. It was like my second stream, and they just came in somehow. all us goblins seem to find each other. But
Well, I mean,
and I had no
unless
idea
this is a
what was going on.
stereotype, you
So
do tend to kind of group up. You know what I mean?
true. True, true, but it wasn't even a raid. It was just somehow they discovered me, I think, through her Discord,
Right.
and they all started coming in one after another, and I just kept seeing all these like Goblin screen names coming into my second stream ever. So I was very confused. I was like, what the fuck is going on? Where are all these goblins coming from? But yeah, they were very kind, and it was a lot of fun, for one of my very early streams to be an exclusively Goblin event.
I mean, it is kind of refreshing to be able to find like-minded people. Like when
I agree. That's like the whole appeal of this.
yeah, when I made this design, I wanted to go for very, plant-based, obviously. Um, and I didn't know if I could find kind of my people, but I've found like cactuses. I've found like actual. I think one of the great trends that's going on right now is there are VTubers with jobs, and they make characters that are like there's scientists. That's a scientist. There's a entomologist, botanists,
Yes.
cryptozoologists. Just I like that. It adds a level of genuineness, I think.
I love that too. I really love when people bring their passions or their expertise to VTubing. I love a good gaming stream, but I really appreciate sort of the variety we're seeing in VTubing these days,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
it's really inspiring. It is. I don't know. I work in animation, and honestly, I've been more inspired since I got into VTubing than I have in my entire career working in animation, because I just, it feels very exciting. It feels very indie, and it feels like a petri dish of creativity, and just, I don't know, the ideas that people come up with and the experimentation. It's really inspiring. I love it.
Yeah, I really think it's a situation where the best rises to the top, because VTubing right now, it's not this amazing special thing like it was probably like 5 or 6 years ago. Like it's really not enough to just put your cartoon on and play a video game. Like that, you have to.
Which I think is a good thing. There's a
Yeah,
certain level of pressure now where it's like you have to put some thought into it to stand out, because yeah, just the sheer volume of VTubers is
yeah, it is
insane.
a huge volume.
Um, so yeah, really to stand out, you have to sort of get creative. But I love that. I mean, from that kind of competitiveness, you get innovation, right? And I feel like
Mm-hmm.
that's sort of the stage we're seeing in VTubing now, is that like, okay, it is pretty, let's be honest, it's pretty oversaturated right now.
Mm.
So what's next? How do we make this new and fresh again? And
Mhm.
people are coming up with some really cool ways of doing that.
Like there's a scientist guy who I think, I don't know if it's all he does, but he builds things. Like he actually has a little workshop that he builds things, and he can like chat, can interact. It's like he built a microwave ray. He built
Oh
just
my
these
god.
weird gadgets, um, like with magnets and electrodes and stuff. There's
Magnets. Always with the magnets.
yeah, the
I
the
love that.
only
I love that though. That's really cool.
yeah, like they I had a doctor VTuber either yesterday or a couple days ago tell me about like patients that they've had in, and like the diagnoses that they've made. It's like it taught me about uh what was it, some the keto, oh, it was some big long word that I tried to analyze, but it's
It's really
just
fascinating though. And is their
yeah,
VTuber, is their character a doctor as well?
yeah, yeah.
Love that.
And they,
You gotta send me some links to these people. I find that so fascinating.
if
That is
if
such,
you
and I
need
love.
yeah, if you ever need me to like kind of show you interesting people, I will be happy to do that.
I would love to, and I have a couple I'd love to show you as well, because it is very inspiring to see what people do. And no, I kind of love that. I love when, because you associate VTubers with a specific type of person, so it's really interesting to see all walks of life getting into it, and someone like a doctor being able to express themselves in such a creative way is that's exciting to me as
Hmm.
someone who's like into the arts and creative expression. um it's nice to see people with real jobs get into something so weird.
Well, I
Yeah.
mean, the people who are doing this are sooner or later they find each other. Like I keep saying this. When I was getting into this, I just kind of made the model because I wanted to see if I could. And then a lot of time after that was wondering if I should, because obviously I am an older person. I'm going to be 40 next year, um, which this space is usually occupied by people who are much younger than me. And it's, I
We
don't
talked about this a
know,
bit
yeah.
last night, and honestly, it makes me, first of all, don't let anyone ever make you feel bad for your interests, your passions, especially when it comes to creative expression. I think anyone who's trying to shame you or stifle you from expressing yourself in a creative way is not doing you a service. Yeah, no, honestly, like that's I think what's going to grow this medium as well is getting all different types of people, different ages, different different interests, different backgrounds, different skill sets. Like that's what's going to keep this interesting.
I
Otherwise,
mean,
it's just
they're
going to
out there.
stagnate and die.
They're out there. Like, there's a troop
Yeah.
of people who are over 30 and that they just all found each other and made a VTubing group. Like,
A lot of my
mm,
favorite VTubers are people over the age of 30. And that's not to say there aren't great VTubers of all ages, but I do just, I feel like people with, you know, the experience and baggage of living a life and then bringing it to something like this and just expressing themselves in such an earnest and raw way is it's amazing. It's really interesting. But
it's
no, I'm
amazing to
glad
think
that you
about, yeah.
decided to do it. No, I'm glad that you decided to do it. It makes me really, it makes me sad to think that you would even feel like, oh, I shouldn't do this for whatever reason, whatever pressure society puts on us to like, you're an adult, you should not be a cartoon character on the internet. Like, fuck that. Like, you know,
I said, fuck that.
creative
I will
expression
be a
is like
cartoon
the
on the internet.
only. No, come on. I mean, it's so important, and I hate that creative expression is always marginalized as like a juvenile thing. It's like one of the most important freedoms we have is to express ourselves artistically and creatively. Like creative thought. I mean, come on. Like,
Hmm.
what are we without it?
We kind of talked about this yesterday, but I feel like creativity and passion are specifically human traits. Like, you don't really find anything else in the natural world that has passion or artistic creativity. Like, it's almost one step removed from like madness, almost.
I completely agree, though. I mean, and frankly, I'm a little like I'm kind of off put when someone doesn't have any hobbies or passions or interests. I'm like, what do you do all day? Like, what do you do with your life? Like, where are you getting enjoyment?
Like, what do you do to
Or
fill the
self
void?
fulfillment, or yeah, exactly. I mean, I know myself and so many of us. I feel like I would lose my mind if I didn't have creative expression and the freedom to do so. But
No,
I
yeah.
think that's also, we can get real deep on it, but like it's independent thought, and there's a lot of times where independent thought is kind of frowned upon, and you're not supposed to sort of go against the grain of society, and this is definitely, a space where you're allowed to do that.
Hmm. And I think that we were kind of talking about the difference between someone who's had the baggage of life. I like the way you put that. Um, Doing this versus like the younger set, which you get all sorts of different kind of streams when you kind of look at the whole. Like, you get very high energy, very goofy, silly um, kind of like teenager energy streams that, you know, I've kind of looked at those as like a curiosity because I can't really keep up with that anymore. Like
I
they move
appreciate
so
that. Like, I
fast.
definitely see, yeah, and I see the value in that, and I love that too. But again, it's about the variety. Like, if it was only that, and if it's like this is the way you're supposed to be a VTuber, the second you try to put a rigid definition on something, you're killing it, especially in a creative space.
Hmm.
Like, that's why it kind of bums me out that there is, it seems like there's a lot of ageism with VTubing, because it's like you're shooting the medium in the foot if you do that. If you're shaming people out of it or discouraging people from being a part of it, you're really stifling the growth of this medium and the places it can go. Like, I really, you know, I work in animation, I work in entertainment, and I feel like I'm seeing much more innovative stuff being done in this space. And I feel like this truly is, I mean, it sounds like a cliche, but I feel like this is the future of animated content and entertainment.
Well, think about it like this. Kind of going back to Space Ghost and Cartoon Planet. Cartoon Planet is what gave Cartoon Network its fucking identity, and it was made by 2 or 3 guys that were just recording this in a supply closet with just kind of clips of an old crappy show that they had access to. Like, it's about
and it
ingenuity.
literally set the tone for all of Adult Swim.
Yeah,
exactly.
it gave them their
brand.
fucking identity, dude. And now Andy
it
Merrill
truly
has
did.
to work as an Amazon delivery driver.
Oh my god. Oh, did you see he got like a bit by a dog?
He got a huge fucking
week?
dog bite. Like, he keeps posting these things
Oh my
about how
God.
awful it is to be an Amazon delivery driver, and it's like, this dude made fucking Cartoon Network. Is there no justice?
That boggles my mind, and it kills me inside to see that he's not working in the industry, and he's having to sort of go outside of the industry, and he's not getting sort of the respect or recognition that is due. Because yeah, I mean, he was like one of the founding fathers of Adult Swim, and really Adult Swim is what has made adult animation a little more, I mean, before Adult Swim, adult animation was basically like The Simpsons or primetime family sitcom. That was the only type of acceptable adult animation.
Like,
and then Adult Swim came along,
yeah,
and we get a crazy variety of content. And finally, in Western culture, I feel like animation is finally becoming a acceptable medium within, like, you know, the general public.
I mean,
masses.
it brought absurdism to to the general public, and it was beautiful. Like, they carried that on. They carried that on through the rest of the William Street Productions, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Sea Lab 2021, all those kind of limited animation shows. I think they were the pioneers of limited animation.
And that stuff blew my fucking mind when I first saw it, because it was unlike anything, you know, again, like, and I love The Simpsons. I'm a huge Simpsons fan. I have nothing against The Simpsons at all. There's nothing wrong with that format.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, adult animation had a very sort of there was, you know, one lane you could travel in the
I mean, it goes back to being risk
averse.
averse.
Family sitcom.
Yeah, if it's not a hit like The Simpsons or whatever, just do what The Simpsons did.
Which, you know, and The Simpsons was basically just modeled after the Flintstones as well. It was just a continuation.
Right,
of
which
that.
was modeled after the Gleasons.
Yeah, exactly. So it's, you know, yeah, that's wild though that he's now being attacked by dogs on his Amazon delivery route. That's really
well. We do have
depressing.
some good news on that front. He, before all this kind of happened, he had made some puppets. He made a Brack puppet, and he.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
He's
I saw
kind
the
of
Brack
been
puppet on Boner Street the other day.
Yeah. So he is coming back to Checkered Past, which honestly, Checkered Past is a really good block of animation. It's all the old Cartoon Network shows. They've had Ed, and Eddie on that. They went back and did some stuff on Toonami Rewind. There's Dragon Ball Kai, Sailor Moon, which I'm glad that I was able to get to watch a little bit of. I've never watched any of it. And like one of the first episodes that I watched,
Sailor Moon. I kind of missed that one too. Yeah, I was always curious about Sailor Moon when I was younger, but then you know, the typical I'm a boy. I
Yeah,
better not watch that,
yeah.
or you know, like
Back then, everything
for
was
fear
very
of being
boy and girl
judged.
coded. Like,
Yes, exactly,
I've talked to
exactly.
friends
So you were kind of
before
like,
about this. Like, the toys that they made, they were very boy and girl coded, and they had something called Polly Pocket, which the whole deal
oh
with
yeah, I
it.
remember Polly Pocket.
Yeah, the whole deal with it was a little compact playset that was like the size of a makeup bag that you could open it up and play with it anywhere. Um,
Hmm.
and they made a boy version of that, which was Mighty Max.
Mighty Max. I had a whole bunch of those. I love that.
Hmm.
Yeah, and it was all like bloody
Yeah,
skulls
like
and you
dungeons
know, it
and
was
like haunted swamps and stuff.
yes. Every '90s boy toy was just like, let's make this as gross and disgusting as
Yeah.
possible.
I
Because
mean, they had the Easy Bake Oven, and that was just boy coded into creepy crawlers.
creepy crawlers, I had that too. I
Yeah,
fucking loved creepy
they're
crawlers.
purple and
Though. I mean,
green.
I played right into that. I was brainwashed just right along with the rest of
Yeah, I
us.
had the creepy crawlers.
I mean, that was fun though. That thing was a lot of fun,
It
and I
was,
can
yeah.
still smell. I can still smell
The
that
weird
burnt plastic
plasticky,
smell.
yeah.
Yeah, the fucking
The fumes,
fumes we
which probably
inhaled
gave
while
us
making creepy crawlers.
mesothelioma.
Oh, for sure. I
Yeah.
mean, that could not have been good. I would be like watching that thing, my face like right above it, just inhaling all those like melting plastic fumes.
If you or a loved one has played with creepy crawlers, you may be entitled to a class action settlement.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm waiting for that notice in the mail.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, I loved all that shit too, but I was always curious to watch those other shows. But yeah, I always felt like shamed into not, unfortunately.
Yeah, but like one of the first Sailor Moon episodes that I managed to catch on TV. Unfortunately, I work 9 to 5 and the Toonami Rewind stuff starts at 5, so I make it in time for Dragon Ball. I don't make it in time for Sailor Moon. Uh, but it was specifically about this older person who is trying to get with this other person who's in a recording studio, and the whole idea was that, everyone deserves to be able to find love, even old people like you.
What a good introduction to it. That's hilarious.
No, it was very cute.
No, I like that. Yeah, I've always wanted to check it out. I mean, just aesthetically, it's such eye candy. I love that
Yeah. One
90s
one thing
anime
that kind
style.
of ooh, one thing that kind of surprised me was that uh Usagi was 14 in like middle school age. Like I always thought that
Yeah.
they
There
were
was
high
a lot
school
of
age.
that. No, yeah, there's unfortunately a lot of that with those old shows where all these characters are a lot younger than you expected them to be, but
Yeah, I think
they're dealing with a lot of like adult situations.
that kind of goes back to like Miki Momo. I think was the first one that did all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. What were some of your other favorites growing up? Like, what were some of your favorite shows that kind of
Let's
influenced
see.
your art style and just your taste in general?
Mm, I'm trying to figure out if I watch more Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network. Like I was definitely a Nickelodeon person growing up.
Same.
There were
Yeah, I was definitely a Nickelodeon.
there were a couple of Disney shows that I liked. I like to watch Darkwing Duck. Um, that's probably Pepper Ann was on Disney. I like Pepper Ann.
Oh yeah, Pepper Ann was good. I
Yeah,
enjoyed that show
Pepper
too.
Ann was like
Yeah, it's
Doug,
definitely
but
Nickelodeon.
what's that?
No, just saying, definitely a Nickelodeon kid. I mean, all the
Like
typical.
Ren
I
and
loved
Stimpy, Rugrats, all the Nicktoons.
Ren and Stimpy like blew my mind. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the same for a lot of us, but like Ren and Stimpy like just blew my mind open as to like, wow, you can do that in a cartoon. Like,
Yeah.
animation can be like this. And
Yeah,
be
well,
this
Stimpy just
disturbing and...
farted. Wow.
Yeah, right.
I remember cracking up over the episode where Stimpy farts and like his fart is alive, and it's his son, and then he like loses his fart and he has to go find his fart.
Yeah, I do like that they created this really like sympathetic story. I believe that was the intent too, was they were trying to kind of like parody like I think actually what happened was the executives at Nickelodeon gave them a note saying like, we don't want as much like gross out stories. We want stories with heart, I think was the note they were getting. So they were like, okay, we'll make you a story with heart, but it was a story about
About a fart.
his estranged fart and losing his fart. So they wanted to prove that like it was kind of like a fuck you. Yeah, okay, yeah, you want a story with heart, we'll do it, but it will still kind of be within that gross out humor.
To this day, I still love
and it worked.
that the whole premise is based upon the kind of assumption that both Ren and Stimpy do not know what a fart is.
Which is very on brand with an. I mean, my dog is scared by her own farts all the fucking time, so it kind of makes sense.
Just
she's been on this planet for like a decade, and she still has no clue, zero awareness of her own bodily functions.
So. just that scene with Stimpy just trying to describe a fart that happened and Ren not believing him.
Yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate, that show has now sort of been tainted with the actions of John Kay, but...
Yeah, I feel like these characters need a support group, characters whose dads suck. Like Ren and Stimpy,
yeah, and I mean, the other thing to consider, too, with animated shows is that, we always sort of, like, we always tend to give one person the credit for these shows, but they're made by a crews of hundreds of artists, and there are so many other artists that aren't shitty people who made Ren and Stimpy what it was. And,
that was proven especially true with John Kay, because John Kay, after he was fired off of his own show for being chronically over budget and past deadline, he went on to make his own show, the Adult Party Cartoon, and that was fucking awful. Like, that was an awful show. Like, it was
really, it just went too far. I mean, the funny thing with people credit, the genius of Ren and Stimpy to John Kay, but anytime he has sort of he was left on his own to just kind of do his own thing, it's usually pretty shitty. Like, he was the kind of person that needed the support of other talented people to get anything good out of him.
He needed a team of people to bang his doodles into, like, recognizable forms.
Pretty much. Like, oh, holy shit, don't get me started on his Simpsons couch gag that he did. That was like 2 years late.
Yeah. The cans without labels thing that was like, I don't know how many years late.
Oh my god. I supported that Kickstarter back in the day and I was burned so badly by that thing. It was bummed. He's like a classic example of never meet your heroes. Like, when I first moved to Los Angeles, I met him, and he gave like a talk at the studio I was working at, and I actually he invited me to like a party at his house and stuff, and I was like really young then, and I was very, like just getting my foot in the door in the animation industry. Wow. So I was just like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. And I quickly learned the old lesson of never meet your heroes, because he was just not what you would hope somebody like that to be. You're like, oh, he's a very troubled person. And then years and years later, when he got Me Too'd and all the terrible revelations came out about his behavior with, employees and stuff and younger women, and it was just, not even women, little girls. I mean, it's shitty to talk about.
Like straight up grooming shit.
Yeah, it's just, oh yeah. But I think he just preyed on his fandom. He knew that we all kind of like worshipped him in an artistic sense, and he would kind of use that to his advantage and kind of,
Yeah, power dynamics.
Pretty much, yeah. But I've met Matt Groening, and I've met a lot of other creators who are really amazing people. Mm-hmm. Really humble and
have you
kind, and...
being in Canada, you are Canadian, right?
I was born and raised in Canada, but I've lived in the US for like my entire adult life, so
have you met Danny?
I'm a traitor. I left the second I graduated college. I ran away to Hollywood, that old story.
Have you been able to meet Danny Antonucci?
No, I have not.
I'd like to meet Danny Antonucci, like creator of Ed, Edd and Eddy, who basically made the show on a dare. Made the show on a dare and knocked it out of the fucking park.
I mean, it's one of the better shows, and it holds up. It's still really entertaining.
No, it's just I am always fascinated with that show because it had a kind of a bland first season. Like everything was, the energy wasn't there yet. It did the kind of squiggly outline thing, which was kind of like a cheating
Yeah.
way of giving it a kinetic movement. But then a couple seasons in, it's just pure slapstick. Like it is evolved
Yeah.
to just a very physical comedy show.
I I miss that. I miss that. You look at the first season of a lot of those shows that became so iconic. A lot of times the first seasons are terrible, both visually and the writing. But that was a time where these shows and creators were kind of given an opportunity to kind of like figure it out and find its audience and find its voice and all that. You don't really get that anymore. Like if a show is not a smash hit
Yeah,
right
if
out
it
of the gate,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
canceled. Yeah.
Like
Whereas, yeah, you look at
yeah.
the first season of a lot of those Nickelodeon or Cartoon Network shows is a little underwhelming, and it isn't until like the second or third season that they really found their rhythm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's kind of, there's a lot of things to hate about streaming, but that's one of those things where things are not allowed to kind of grow and become the best that they can be. It has to be perfect out of the gate.
There's something cathartic about that too, though, because with streaming, A, it's live content, and B, a lot of us are just doing this ourselves. So it's, we obviously go for, and I have to say, like, the production value of your stream is amazing.
Oh,
Like,
I was
your whole composition
specifically
here and the
talking
thought.
about streaming services.
Oh, sorry, I'm talking about like
Yeah,
VTuber
yeah.
streaming, but I'm just,
But
my
you were
point is though
complimenting
that
me,
like,
so please go ahead.
no, it's just even though things are a little scrappy with VTubing and can be rough around the edges and things are imperfect, that's kind of the charm of it, and you learn creative solutions, to get around those things,
Mm-hmm.
and it's something doesn't need to be the most polished, perfect looking thing to be entertaining. Which unfortunately, that's sort of the state of animation right now and animated series. It's like right out of the gate, everything needs to be completely polished and perfect, or it's considered a failure. You know what I mean?
I feel like that's a problem that's just kind of how do I want to say it? It's kind of indicative of the times that we're in right now, because it seems like, at least on a corporate level and a business level, they're seeking the polished perfection that you're talking about, and that's why there's all these pushes towards these kind of a homogenized vision of perfection, which kind of goes hand in hand with the whole generative AI thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah,
my
and I mean,
my mantra this year is to just embrace the imperfect. Like, I think that imperfections in what you do can actually make you stand out. Like if everyone is going for this kind of homogenized vision of perfection, then it all kind of runs together in a way. Kind of going back to the overly designed
totally right.
characters things.
No, you're completely right, and it's something that I still gives me a lot of anxiety. Like even the fact that like my chroma key didn't work perfectly for my character, it starts to give me a little anxiety. Like, oh, it doesn't look perfect, and his hairs are kind of like masked out, and I'm trying to learn to let go of those things, and especially. Sometimes I get some anxiety and I don't want to stream or go live because I feel like not everything is exactly the way I want it for that stream. But I'm learning to just let go of that and just sort of like, no, you know what? Like, it's okay if not everything is working perfectly or is because again, like working in scripted animation, it is so frame fucky where like every little detail is scrutinized ad nauseum, like
Mm-hmm. Hang on just a second here, just a second.
What are you getting out of there?
Sorry, it's these allergies. The pollen level's just
That's
too
okay.
high.
Going deeper into the flower just
Like
might have not
there
been the
were
best
a
choice.
couple
But
things that I
welcome
wanted
back.
this model to be able to do. Like I wanted it to be able to hide like that. I wanted it to be
I
able
love
to.
that though. I think that's great.
I wanted it to be able to change
I
shape
love the
and color.
tendril animation. I've just been getting like hypnotized by it. Yeah, I love all the toggles you have. Like, can I see some more? You gotta show off some of your toggles.
I have to. I think I have to turn mix it up on. Yeah, mix it up.
Oh, sorry, it's okay.
No, no, no. It's just a couple
I
button
just love that
clicks.
though.
Like, do you have any
You showed me a
questions
couple last
for
night, the
me?
mallet, and yeah, I was just kind of curious because again, like, um, I'm just very happy to hear that. I almost I enjoy that people put the time and energy into VTubing as like a hobby too. I'm always kind of fascinated by that because it's I identify with you. Like I totally get that you have like a 9 to 5. I'm in a 9 to 5 as well, and it's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of I really respect and admire people who, after a long day, are coming home and working on this stuff because it's tedious. It takes a lot of time to prepare all this. So no, I was just really curious, like what your influences were and what made you want to get into VTubing. Like, what's the appeal to you? Like, what do you feel you get out of it more than anything?
Hang on. I need to have a snack first.
No problem.
Let's see. Let's get one of these here.
I love that.
Ah, perfect. And then maybe a
Welcome back.
little bit of a drink here. Okay. So I
Oh, I love that. Look
guess
at that.
yeah, yeah. You can. I've got a little bit of a kind of a devil thing going on here. These are all Twitch channel point redeems, by the way. These are all you
Oh,
can
cool. I love that.
you can feed and water me yourselves if you want to. Um, let me see if I can actually.
Oh, let me. I want to activate
Oh
one right
yeah,
now.
hang on. Let me refresh the cache here. So I think that might be the issue.
The redeems are so fun to me. Like that has been one of the aspects about VTubing on Twitch that it's magic to me. It's so fun coming up with redeems, and it's just so satisfying when people use them.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that sort of interactivity of VTubing is just it. Again, it's so alien to me because I'm used to working on projects where you're spending a year working on something and then waiting another year for it to get released and to see a reaction. There's no immediate reaction or feedback to fucking anything that we work on. So just sort of the immediacy of this and just the interaction with chat and the community, it's fun.
But
I
yeah,
love it.
go ahead and try it out, Goblin. What do you feel like?
Yeah, let me see. Well, I've
Give me
racked up
some food
a
here.
good chunk of. Oh, so the different fertilizers do. Oh, I see. Well, this is
Mm-hmm.
great. Yeah, see, I love the thought and everything you put into this, Belrose. It's so fun. Let's see. Give you a little mountain blend.
Mm-hmm. That's the kind of boyish form.
Oh, I like that. I have 200 more points. Let me see what else I can do. What are flowery vibes? What did you have any recommendations?
Oh, some of those are not through Mix It Up. Some of those are just through Twitch. I think there's like some sounds and music and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay, so I'll wait until I rack up some more
Oh yeah,
fertilizer
you.
points.
Oh, actually, you just
Groveland.
tell me what you wanna redeem. I'll give you some free. I'll give you some free
Show what's your
points.
favorite? I want to see.
What's my favorite?
Show me some of your favorites.
Let's see what we got here. We got bug spray.
Oh, I still have the Defoe face on.
Yeah,
True
get
form.
rid of that.
Bloop.
Let's see. We've got Cool Victory. I like Cool Victory.
I love it. See, I wish I had mixed it up so I could do stuff like this. It's so. I love all the character toggles. It's really
Hmm.
fun.
Oh, this
We
one's
talked about
just
this last night. Unfortunately, I'm a Mac user, so I've been banned from using Mix It Up.
yeah.
Oh, look at that.
Some of these are
Fun. And you,
old.
so you rigged all this yourself? You did all this?
It's all me, baby.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Kudos to you. Working a 9 to 5 and then learning live 2D and putting all this together. Like, dude, that's no easy task. Oh shit, that's great.
Yeah.
What's the I want to know the story behind the monstrous necktie.
Oh, I'm glad that it reads like that. Let me just get
Is
something.
it a creature? Like it has little eyes. Is it like sentient? Is that like your skull? Like what is
So,
what's the lore? I want to know the lore behind the eyeball and the pot too. Like you gotta give me the
good, because
backstory.
I love to talk about that stuff. Let me just. Ah.
Well, please
So,
do. I'm curious.
so I went for like a mimic sort of thing. Um,
Yeah.
like the kind of general backstory is that I did not always look like this. I looked like a regular plant in the ground, and I had to kind of learn how to grow myself to like have senses and be able to talk and look and that kind of stuff. Um, and basically everything in the pot is what you would call the real me. That's why there's a big eyeball down
I
in
was
there.
wondering that if your humanoid form is like a lure,
It's a puppet
like a
basically.
decoy.
That's
Yeah.
why
No, I love that.
it's imperfect. That's why sometimes it just kind of, if I get
That's
surprised, it
really
does
good.
that. But
I love that. See, that's something I wish I had gotten more into was sort of the lore and backstory because anytime someone puts thought into their character, it just makes me appreciate the lore. Always makes me appreciate a VTuber that much more.
yeah. So like the humanoid part was made to be able to talk to people and like get them to come close and then like.
Well, I will keep my distance then.
No, you're good. You're
It
good.
tastes terrible. Don't worry.
I ate this morning.
Goblin meat is gamey and tough, and you wouldn't enjoy it.
Well, I'll take your word for
And
that.
thanks for giving me this little hedge too. I love this. I love that. Good.
It's
Good
a lot softer
craftsmanship
than your
here.
rock, right?
Well, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Maybe I could give you
No
some
one has seen
clippings to
me
take
from the
home to
waist down.
your cave.
I would appreciate that. Yeah, actually, that
Yeah.
would be fun. Little keepsake.
But like
But yeah, it's
the
soft.
tie
Very
is
nice.
actually just, it's kind of the whole mimic feel. Like I haven't decided yet if it's like
Gotcha. Yeah,
those are fun. I think those are functional eyes, right there.
that's what I was wondering if that all the two was like a living creature.
I feel like it's all part of one creature. It's not like a parasite or a bug. It's just it's
Yeah,
all natural, you know.
I love that though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that you're like an extension of the real creature within the pot.
Hmm.
That's really fun.
Here, let me actually
Yeah, the eye peeking through the fence there looks great.
yeah, let me actually get myself up here so you can see all of me.
Was this, have you ever done any other models or designs, or has this sort of always been your vision for it?
So this is actually the second version that I've made. The first version was my first experiment with Live 2D. I'm pretty happy with it, but there were a lot of things that could be done cleaner. And I'm actually working on a 3.0 right now that just kind of takes this and gets rid of some of the messier elements that I just kind of whip together on the fly to like correct it and make it functional. Like the
No, your attention to detail is fantastic, though. Like all
yeah.
the little idle movements and stuff like that. I love the eye moving around, and
I like that
that was
the
really great.
pod
You did an
is
awesome
just
job.
kind of like a rubber hosey, like squash and
Yeah,
stretch.
yeah, I love that. Have you always been interested in animation? Like,
I've done animation before, like not professionally, but just like a hobbyist kind of thing. I've done pixel art. I've done flash animation, um, mostly pixel art.
That's fun. That's like a whole skill in itself.
Yeah,
Pixel
it
art.
definitely
So
is.
deceiving. It's so deceiving. It's deceivingly. It looks
Delicious.
simple, but it's not at all. You really gotta like plan and literally pick every pixel strategically to make it look
Yeah,
right.
yeah. And then you have to like not put a median filter over it and blur the whole thing.
Yeah.
I don't know who invented the median
So fun.
filter.
I need to check. I would love to see some of your pixel art. I haven't seen that before.
I
Maybe
haven't
check
done
out.
it in quite a while. Like, I haven't done it in a long time. But yeah,
Well, I
I'll
would
show
love
you.
to check it out. You gotta send me some.
I'll show you. Hang on, I just need to get. I'm feeling a little blue here.
I want to. Yeah, we didn't get to. You receded into the pot, but I was just curious to know more about like, since it is a hobby for you, and I get why some people. Oh, look at that! That's great design. I love that color. Those colors.
I'm
But,
Elsa
since it is a
Frozen,
hobby for
baby.
you, like what is it about VTubing that what do you get most out of it? Just the creative outlet, or is it the community?
It is
Like,
the
what sort of
creative
your favorite
outlet. Like, I kind of like I have a couple of forms of escapism to kind of like make it through reality as it is right now.
You gotta have those these days. Yeah,
You have to.
need
Like, I used to feel bad about it. It's like,
many escape
should I
options.
really be living this fantasy like this? It's like, no, the world kind of sucks right now. But
I mean, what's the alternative? Let's be honest. Like, yeah.
I guess
Why
the
not
alternative is to
find some
continue looking
enjoyment?
into the toilet. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
But
No,
I
there's
definitely
nothing wrong
get
with finding enjoyment in life.
I get the camaraderie. I get to meet people, kind of like what we're doing now. I do enjoy writing. I do enjoy roleplay. I enjoy video games. It kind of just brings all my interests together. I like design and drawing. So I was able to just
Yeah, it
I
really
wanted
is.
I wanted a concept that I wanted to be able to just run with.
Yeah, it's just this crazy blend of so many different skills. It's performing, it's art, it's can be anything, music, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
There's elements of game design.
I do make tabletop simulator games too.
Oh yeah, you were telling me last night. I
Yeah.
love that. That's so cool.
I'll have to show you some of those sometime. But it's just
Where do you find the time? How do you do it? How do you do that? And still, we were talking too about sleep schedules last night. You have all these amazing interests, and you still have like a relatively healthy sleep schedule. I admire you. How do you do that?
I mean, the answer to how I do it is if I don't do it, I end up feeling like shit. Like, if
That's
I
true.
don't get to bed at a
That's
certain time, like when I was younger, it used to be, oh, I'll wake up a little bit sleepy and then kind of shrug it off and go on my day. If I don't do that at this point, my whole day is ruined. I feel like crap the whole day.
I wish I had your self-control. Actually, it's really funny. Like, I'm such a night owl, and I don't know why that's like a thing. Or maybe I just tell myself it's a thing, but I always feel the most creative when the world is shut down, like really late at night. But even last night, after we sort of finished hanging out and talking, I was working on some stream stuff. And I was so focused on it, and I look up at the clock, and it was like 4 a.m., and I'm still going. And I was like, "Oh shit, I should probably get some sleep." Like,
I can tell that I have
bad.
good rapport with people when I have to literally tear myself away from the conversations. That's how I
mean,
can.
that's my fault. I'm sorry. I don't shut.
No,
the
it
fuck
is
up
not your
sometimes.
fault. I
You were
do that
trying
with
to
my
get to
friends
bed, and I was
too.
going on and on. No,
But
I enjoyed it though. It was a great conversation. You gonna chomp that butterfly? Get him.
No, I kind of burped him up. He was not good. The green ones aren't good. I think maybe you might have a point.
Oh, the green ones are the bad
things. Green things not tasting very well.
It's sour. They're all sour flavors.
I wonder if sour
I
Joe
am covered.
tasted
I'm
sour.
coated in sour dust.
Are you sour gob? A sour gobstopper?
Pretty much.
uh,
I'm like a platypus, you know. I'm
oh, it's just
discreetly
callback
venomous.
on callback.
layer those callbacks.
But no, the
Callback
answer
within
to
callback.
how I can do it is I either get things done a little bit at a time during the week. Like if I'm inspired, I come home and I'm like looking forward to coming home and working on it. Um, or if it's during the weekend, I've got that kind of personality where I'll start something and I will just do it the whole day.
Yeah, same here. I get very like hyper focused, or I get very stubborn. Like I was trying to crack something last night. I was working on something for stream, and I can't put it down until I figure it out or get it working the
Yeah,
way I
yeah,
want it
I
to.
have that a lot where I can't put it down. I've got they call that a addictive personality.
Yeah, same here. Um, for harmless things, though. I mean, there are worse
Oh
things
yeah,
you could
yeah,
have an
yeah,
addiction to. That's for sure.
yeah.
Who are some of your other VTubers? Your favorite or most influential?
Let's see. Like I don't have time to watch a
I
lot of
always
them,
love
but
hearing what other people like because true, but I mean, I just still like if there are just any on your in your peripheral that you're aware of because again, like I find that I always discover some cool new people through other VTubers because it's just it's there's so much. It's hard to sift through it all, you know.
so I do some things, and I'm friendly with some people on they call New York Snark Exchange, and they are kind of like a streamer troop. There's one VTuber among them, NJ Chef, but
Oh,
they're
interesting.
all really good people. And Christy, who's in the chat, might be lurking, might not. I don't know, um, but they have been part of that, and they're kind of taking a hiatus to do personal stuff right now. Um, who else?
Oh, real
Ty
life
Tuesday
always
is
getting in
really
the way,
funny.
right?
Ty Tuesday is somebody I've seen kind of like start from
Interesting.
the like he is a career streamer and kind of did his whole thing from the ground up. It's been really interesting to see him kind of start from the bottom and go to where he is now. Very
It is. It
heart
is fun to see
embiggening.
people grow and yeah, no, I love that. I love seeing people find their voice. I'm still in that stage. It hasn't even been a year for me. I started in October of last year.
Hmm.
It's been about like 8 months
I used to
ish.
stream
And yeah,
regularly
I don't,
years ago, but it was not VTubing. That VTubing is kind of what got me back into it, back into the game.
yeah, it's just, it's too fun. I love it.
Hmm.
I really was inspired actually, the VTuber, I really wasn't that familiar with it. I kind of like had a vague understanding and awareness of it, but um, I'm not like a big gamer, so I just never really considered Twitch as like an area or a place for me to hang out in or check out. But there's a VTuber called Big Nose Bug. I don't know if you know her.
I
She
believe
also
I
works.
may know Big Nose Bug. Is it a very kind of cartoony looking VTuber? Um,
Yeah,
yeah.
she's like a theme park mascot. Is her
It's kind of like a mix
character,
between
and
a
she's like
dog and a bug.
yeah, exactly. She looks
Yeah.
like yeah, yeah, exactly. I don't know how to describe. She's like, yeah, she's like a theme park mascot. Yeah, she's like a bug, but also, yeah, a big dog. Um,
Yeah.
but she works in animation as well, and so I kind of started. I became aware of her and what she was doing, and I started watching her streams, and I was just like, holy shit! And I just kind of saw like my eyes were opened. You know, I was shown the light. I was just like, oh my god, there's so much potential here for play, and it's such like a sandbox um, to play in.
You can do
So
so much. Like if you have the
yeah, it's
ideas,
wild.
like one of the things that I've done was I hooked up with a botanist VTuber, and we just kind of talked about
I
botany
love that.
things. I
That
really
is the
like
best pairing. I love that you did that.
I like that I like to reach out to monsters because I have kind of a soft spot for monsters in general. Um,
Me
any
too.
any kind of games where you can like make friends with the monsters or like play as them or have them as pets, um, which you're not open to that, are you?
To being a pet,
Yeah.
I mean, Skull is. Skull is more of a pet. See, that's the thing. I always kind of view him as like he's gonna be offended. But yeah, I kind of view him as my pet.
It sounds like
Yeah,
he
he does
doesn't
not
like
like
that.
that.
I
No.
mean, it's not all bad, Scully. I mean, you don't have to worry about much if you're somebody's pet.
Hey, I look after him really well. I take care of him. He's yeah,
Sometimes I wonder what it must be like to be a houseplant.
yeah, right. He's kind of like that. Your skull is kind of like a plant.
Like a houseplant.
He's getting real offended. Yeah.
We love you, Scully.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't leave the, like I said, I don't leave the cave very often. I don't. I'm kind of on my own a lot of the time. I'm a little bit of a recluse, and that was sort of that's my my very loose lore for Goblin is that he is a goblin who has lived under Los Angeles for centuries, and his only frame of reference to society has been watching, TV.
Uh-huh.
Raised by the glow of a TV, and so the only way he knows how to connect with anyone is to just have his own talk show.
Does he know, has he seen other talk shows? Has he seen, like, the kind of, inflammatory ones with, like, the conspiracy theories and stuff?
He has. That's his only connection to the surface world, and to humanity, and that's his only frame of reference. Everything he knows, it's because he viewed it on TV. We've gotten into. I've had some guests that are. Yeah, I mean, originally it was primarily people that are involved in the paranormal, and then I kind of opened it up to just like anybody I find interesting who has sort of an eccentric personality. But we had a cryptozoologist on that was really fascinating, and one of my favorite guests too. We have someone who practices vampirism. Her name was Kira the vampire, and she was fascinating because she had all kinds of, conspiracy theories and theories about the end of the world and the end of days, and it was really fascinating. Look at that! I like that one.
Yeah, it's kind of this one's called Poison. It's that whole
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
oh, I forget what they call it, but it's basically when animals are really brightly colored as a way of saying, like, hey, if you, like, eat me, then you're gonna get really sick and probably die.
Yeah, I like that.
I think it's funny how things evolve to have those things.
Yeah, it is pretty wild. I always love it. It is the most beautifully colored animals are always the ones that are going to kill you. It's kind of like counterintuitive, you know?
Well,
Look
being,
at
like,
those colors
standing
are
out a
on.
lot. Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems to be working, because, like, they aren't being eaten left,
True.
right, and center.
True. I
Like,
guess I'm just, I would fail the Darwinian experiment. I would not survive. I would be like, ooh, look at that brightly colored sentient
it
plant,
must be a
and walk
candy
right
bug.
over and just be eaten. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, I want to touch. Yeah, and then dead.
Well, we're buddies, right? I wouldn't do that to you.
Thank you. I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
Unless you catch me on a bad day.
I'll try to stay on your good side.
Yeah. Well, fortunately for you, all my sides are good.
Thank God for that. I do love it though. Like, is it just like a color shift, or did you have to recolor each element individually?
So, when I was making this, I wanted to experiment with color shift. But there is a way to just have it be recoloring the elements and basically putting a playlist together. And that's actually going to be the better way to do it, because it's all parameters, and if you do multiple toggles, the settings can interfere with each other, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, I'm just learning OBS and everything, and sometimes it hurts my head, but man, it is so rewarding when you finally get something working the way you want it to.
I mean, we have a lot of oversaturation of VTubing right now, but it's so accessible. There's never been a better time to get into it.
It is wild how all of these tools, more or less, are free. there's a lot of aspects of it that are just sort of
I mean, Mix It Up is free,
out
OBS
there,
is
and
free.
anyone.
Live 2D
Yeah,
is subscription, unfortunately, but what can you do?
yeah. I mean, I'm. You have the right idea. I'm working with Adobe, so I'm the real sucker here, paying my subscription to Adobe.
Yeah.
Goblin is feeding the AI farm as we speak.
No, don't do that.
No,
I might have
I
to
have
eat
no
you
choice.
now.
They've given me no choice, Belrose. I just all I had to do was glance at the agreement, and I'm
Oh,
bound
is
to
that
it
a
for
real
life.
thing, or is that a joke that people are making?
I think it's a joke. I don't think it's real, but I mean, look, if you're
I mean, I
using the
wouldn't be surprised
software,
if Adobe was
you
trying
have
to
no
make it a
choice.
thing.
I mean, what choice do you have? I mean, you can't really opt out. They're gonna do what they're gonna do, and unfortunately, the entire Adobe suite is a tool I use for work, for personal work. I'm screwed. I'm bound to them for life. So
Sorry, I'm just looking up. There was a series of interview questions that I forget what celebrity it was, but he had this talk show, and he would always ask these questions to sort of prominent figures that came on. I want to see if I can find the list. But while I'm trying to find that,
we better get a prominent figure in here.
well, I mean,
We have Skull.
yeah,
He's
Scully's
about as prominent of a guest.
Yeah, he does
Yeah.
stick out a bit, doesn't he?
He may have been a prominent figure in life. You never know.
Yeah, who
There
knows?
was-
You may be living with a celebrity.
Bring this every. You never know. I love chat's always coming up with theories about him and stuff. I love that.
I mean, how did he get in that cave? Humans aren't found in caves, not naturally.
How do we even know he's human?
He looks a little humanish.
But is he though? Is he?
Yeah, I suppose it is dangerous to judge books by their cover.
Look at those strong cheekbones. I mean, I've never seen a human with quite incredible bones.
I enjoy his scraggle tooth.
Yeah, that was me trying to make a skull mildly interesting to look at, because I mean, there's only so many ways to draw a skull, so I was like, I got to give him some personality.
No,
So
I
tried
can
to
tell.
mess around with proportions, and tried to mess around with the shapes and proportions, and just to give him like make him a little more interesting to look at than just like a very stock kind of skull. But yeah, the snaggletooth was me just trying to give him some personality.
Okay, I don't think I can find that interview, but I do remember some of the questions from it. So you, Goblin, what sort of noise do you like?
What sort of noise do I like?
Yeah.
I like there are a lot of ASMR VTubers that I actually enjoy, and whenever they use like a singing bowl, I really like that. I find that very calming. So
You say a singing bowl?
It's very specific. Yes, a singing bowl. It's basically just like, I think it's just like a brass bowl that you strike with like a mallet or something, and it just makes a very soothing tone.
Oh, it's kind of like a deep hollow tone. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yes, it's very meditative. I've had some like experiences with a shaman and meditation and stuff like that, and they did some like sound baths, and they used singing bowls, and I actually really enjoyed that.
Do you still meditate, or was that a phase?
No, it's something I should do more often. I'm very interested in it, but again, like not enough hours in the day, but I should prioritize it.
Do you meditate to relieve stress, or is there another reason for it?
Stress, but also just the sort of not spiritual. I'm trying to think of. I mean, I have, yeah. I guess it all comes down to just centering yourself and finding some kind of inner peace. So yeah, I would say it's probably for stress.
Yeah, it's it can be good for kind of just slowing things down and being able to reflect. I think being able to think clearly is something that's very important just from day to day.
Do you meditate? Do you do any of that?
I don't meditate, but I am very even-tempered, so I kind of always find myself going back to um, not having an emotional reaction when I'm under stress, to just kind of back off
Same,
and
but I almost find that is like I don't express it outwardly. I'm very even tempered as well, but internally, things are very busy, and so I find that it's just a good way to like quiet my mind because I'll just be thinking about like 1,000 things at once,
I
and I
mean, I
won't
will say
necessarily
that
have like an outward expression of that.
one of my favorite things is just a dark room, just a completely dark room. Um,
Yeah.
that's quiet. I've got something soft to lay on. Like, if I could move things around to just have no windows in my bedroom, I think that would be. I would love that.
I
Just
love a
total
dark room.
darkness. Well, I mean, obviously,
Same. I mean, it's
you
not.
don't have much choice in the
Yeah,
matter, do you?
it's true. I mean, I literally stream from a cave. My home office is in a basement, in the basement of my place, and it's always very dimly lit and dark down here, and I enjoy that.
Uh
I
huh.
like a good mood lighting. I don't like direct sunlight, so I am very gob even in real life. Goblin is kind of just like an extension of my
A
personality.
mask,
But
but not
have you
quite.
ever
It's
tried
like
any of the? Have you ever tried those? We look exactly the same. I mean, have you ever tried one of those like sensory deprivation tanks?
I have not. Um, I feel like that might be going a little bit too far. Um,
Yeah,
because like
too extreme,
yeah, a little
dark room
too.
direction.
Um, like I'm comfortable being alone with my thoughts, but I feel like if there isn't a little bit of noise around me, then I start thinking about like myself and my like physical, like oh, how what am I trying to say? I think about my heartbeat
No, I
and
think I
like
get what you're
the
saying.
blood coursing through my veins and all that kind of stuff.
You start to get a little too like existential. It's a
Yeah,
little overwhelming.
yeah. No, I don't think I'd want
I've
to
always
do
wanted to
a.
try one. I've never done one, but it seems intense. But I think I would at
Did
least
you
want to
know
try
that
it
a
once.
sensory deprivation tank is like the complete opposite of a tanning bed?
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It kind of is. That sounds like Tan Mom's worst nightmare. We'll
Yeah.
just seal her up in one of those.
Well, I mean, what if somebody got in a bunch of sensory deprivation tanks a lot and then like got superpowers from that?
I mean, I think it's possible. I think it is possible.
Tandemob's
Well,
nemesis.
Tan Mom can be the guinea pig for
Yeah.
that. I mean, oh my god, you have no idea. I took one for the team with that. She has been blowing up my phone. I think she's in Los Angeles this week, and she wants me to like go to a party with her, and I'm just like, oh my god,
What have you
trying to
done,
like
Goblin?
respectfully turn her down. I know, I know, I know. I showed her like a shred of attention, and now she thinks we're like best buddies, and if I don't respond, she like sends me like a 2 paragraphs like chastising me. It's a whole situation I'm in now.
Oh, that's adorable, actually.
I know we're best buds. I mean, you saw the stream. I was getting real flustered. She was being a little
A
aggressively
little
flirtatious.
flirty. Just
So
be careful with that. I
she's a
don't
little
think
pent
you.
up.
I don't think that you two as an item would really pan out.
I don't think it would work either. No, she's not my type. I don't think. You will not be seeing Tan Mom and Goblin in the tabloids anytime soon.
I mean, I hate to go off on a tangent, but fuck you. That was funny.
It shouldn't have taken me as long as it did to get that. The gears, could you feel the gears like turning in my
I
little
could hear the
goblin
little
brain? I was like,
doohickey
wait
noises.
a minute. Yeah. The processing time just churning. I got there. Okay, I got there
Hey,
eventually.
finishing the race is just as important as finishing first.
Look, I mean, have you seen the size of my cranium? It's my brain is like the size of a walnut. The
Well,
goblins are not going
you've
to
got to
look into
store
that.
those thoughts somewhere.
True.
You can tell that I don't have too many thoughts, but my walnut's not very
It was
big.
good though. I was laughing. You killed me. I was dying with the panini press line. That was really good.
Mind you, that's spelled P-Nini.
See, that one I got. I'm getting a little quicker now. I'm like, I'm keeping my eye open for them now. So
So, do you have anyone interesting lined up for the next, what do you call your show? What do you call it?
I just call them stream. I don't know, streams. I mean, the show is
Oh,
This Is
you gotta
Goblin.
have a name for your show. I mean, this is Gardenside Chat.
Like, oh, the show is This Is Goblin.
Oh, I see. Well, do you have anyone lined up for
That
This Is
is the name
Goblin?
of it. You've seen my little neon sign. It's
Oh yeah, there was
the
that
name
sign.
of
I completely forgot about that sign.
I just wanted the most to the point name for the show. No questions asked. Yeah, I have a couple people lined up. I think the next guest I'm trying to get on next stream is someone who claims to be a time traveler, which I'm very excited about because they are all into time travel, and I think they have some patents on some devices they've built that they claim are essential to time travel, which, you know, anyone can put a patent on anything, so that doesn't really mean anything, but it's still wildly interesting to me that someone would go to
Well,
those
there have been a
lengths.
number
So
of people who have claimed to be time travelers. Like this is
exactly. So we're going to put them through some intense questioning and crack the code on time travel.
mm-hmm.
I also, that's the other thing that was a big influence for me. I used to love listening to Coast to Coast AM. I don't know if you ever listened to that.
Nah.
It was like a talk radio show.
I don't get out a
where,
lot, Goblin.
It's a radio. It's like a talk radio show, and they would just have guests on, very eclectic guests who are involved in the paranormal. So they would have like paranormal researchers and ufologists, and sometimes just callers that they sort of vetted and had interesting stories. And it was a similar case where, you know, a lot of the guests are just bullshitting. They're just talking out their ass, but the host would treat them with like respect and just kind of let them tell their story and just kind of appreciate the at the very least the entertainment value of it.
Well, I mean, what's better?
Whether it
What's
was
more fun and
believable or not.
more constructive? Coming, having somebody come on your show and be like, "I believe in aliens." Well, the aliens aren't real. You're stupid. Like, no?
Yeah.
You entertain the idea. It's like, well, where do you think they are? Do you think that they look like us, or that they look like this or that? Can they communicate? Like I've always wondered if there are aliens out there, which I think that there probably are. The universe is too big for there not to be.
I think so too. I love that we're in like a time period where, yeah, it's not even a crackpot theory to believe there are aliens. Like it's almost more insane to believe that there are not, in my opinion.
Yeah, I just think that the universe is too big that we probably won't ever see them.
It's more bone chilling. It's more unsettling to me. If we really are the only thing out there, then I have more questions. I think that opens up a lot more questions, and there's something troubling about that to me, so.
I mean that makes the whole planet Earth and life in general just like a fluke. Like that's a very troubling thought to have.
Well, either a fluke or what is it? Or is it even real at all? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's where like I feel like simulation theory becomes sort of interesting. And that's another person I've reached out to. I've reached out to some people that are really into simulation theory. I want to talk about that, especially since, you know, VTubing we are living in a simulation currently.
Right now?
Right now. Belrose. None of this is real.
But one thing that
None of it.
I like to entertain myself when I'm thinking about aliens. Like, people always consider aliens to have like a language that's like our language. Like, they can speak in their own weird alien tongue, or they can speak telepathically. And I wonder if there are aliens out there that kind of communicate like bugs do, like with smells and pheromones and stuff.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. I mean, that's our frame of reference. So it's funny that humans always depict aliens as humanoid, but if they are out there, I'm sure they're something that we can't even comprehend. Like, you're
Like,
totally
I
right.
just
They'll
wonder if they
communicate.
were advanced like us, where they could use tools and like have a society or whatever. And like one comes up to the other and they want to say like good morning to each other, and they just like pooed out the good morning smell.
Yeah, exactly. That seems more likely to me. Like, I'm sure they would have. Like, why would they have the same senses that we do? Like, you know.
Yeah, maybe it's like a world that's completely dark.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
they don't need
Aquatic.
eyes. Oh, I mean, we
All the
have a little bit of
conditions are
that on
different.
Earth already. Like, there's still a huge portion of the Earth that's so deep down under the ocean that we can't safely go down there, and it's just we don't even know what's there.
That stuff always fascinates me so much of the just like the just deep ocean creatures, and I
Yeah.
mean, those are aliens on our own planet. You know, like they're so of another world.
Yeah, like they're grown. They've existed in such radically different conditions than us. Like complete darkness,
The fact
just
that
tons
they
of
can
pressure.
survive in a place, yeah, tons of pressure and the temperatures that would destroy us in a millisecond, and they're just kind of doing their thing, you know.
Yeah. And then
No, I love that shit. So
once in
yeah,
a while they meet a few billionaires.
yeah, right. Well, it sounds like they're going back down there to prove a point. So I don't know. I mean, that stuff fascinates me, but I will observe it from the surface. I am not. I have no desire to go into space. I have no desire to get into a fucking shoebox submarine. Forget it.
Shoebox submarine. What do you mean? It's completely safe, Goblin. They've done it once before.
They made it in a garage. Yeah, they checked it over twice. It's good enough.
Yeah.
No, I'm perfectly happy to experience all that from the safety of the Goblin Grotto. I mean, even like I said, the fact that you got me out of there and I'm up here, um, you know, hats off to you. I don't know how you did it.
I may have used a little bit of trickery.
It's those plant,
my
those plant mind
plantish
control
charms.
pheromones.
Yeah. Yeah, I do have those, you know.
It's the venom.
Yeah. They're quite handy.
It worked. You got me.
But it's a good thing. It's a good thing to get you out of your cave. You look like you're having fun.
I appreciate it. No, this is great. Do you typically have VTubers on, or like you said, you spoke to a botanist? Do you ever have any other, or do you have a desire to have like other types of guests on?
Yeah, it's actually a good question. I was actually talking to you a little bit about this over social media, where we both kind of have our show, but it seems like I lean towards more VTubers and people who may or may not be putting on a character, whereas you tend to want to speak to people that are being completely genuine and they're just eccentric. So I don't know if I would
I
want
love that you
to.
brought that up. That's really important. Yeah.
Like
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
it's a little bit of a different subject matter between us, but I guess the answer is I don't know. I never really thought about having somebody on that was a little bit more real. I think I
mean, you
could
had
be
the
open
botanist.
to it.
You
Yeah.
had the botanist.
Well, there is the botanist, but they're also a VTuber. Is the thing. There's a botanist and an entomologist that I talk to, and they're both plant and bug VTubers.
I love that though. I love the VTuber guests who are like experts in a very specific field. Like I find that so interesting. You got to send me some links because I would love to check those people out. But I love that you said that because that is really important to me. And when I'm, you know, as I'm sure you know, like it's difficult to book people. It's hard to work with people's schedules and stuff,
Yeah.
and that has been the biggest challenge, especially with the type of people I'm dealing with. It is very hard to wrangle them sometimes, but it's super important to me to find people that are they're all real. They're not putting on an act. I want people who are just as genuine and authentic as possible.
Yeah.
You know, there are exceptions. Part of the charm of the Mall Santa was that he would not break character, and I was desperately trying to throw him off. Like, that was fantastic.
No, see, I like shows like that. Like
Santa
it kind of
Yeah.
walks the line between an interview and like an improv thing.
That's
And,
the Santa episode was actually one of my favorites for that reason, because he was playing along as best as he could, but he didn't miss a beat. Every curveball I threw at him, I was really trying.
So,
to
like,
throw him
what
off.
was a curveball that
He
you
played
threw
right
at him?
along.
Like, how did you try to throw
I tried
him
to
off?
I tried to. Well, you know, I set him up with that question about hiring goblins, which he failed.
Uh-huh.
I tried to start some shit between him. Tried to start some shit between him and Mariah Carey. I asked him some real personal questions about Mrs. Claus.
Did you ask him what he thought about
there
Krampus?
there was a lot. Actually, no, that's a good one. Maybe I'll have him back for the holidays this year. I'll ask him about Krampus. I did put him in a hypothetical situation where the sleigh crashes somewhere in
Right, I think I
Siberia
might
and
have seen the clip
and
like that,
which,
where it's like, which reindeer would you eat?
which reindeer would he eat if he had to? And again, like he gave these really quick answers. I was like, oh wow, you're on it, dude.
Yeah,
Maybe
I
he was
think
the real Santa.
I think
don't
he
know.
said something like he was really being judgmental towards a specific reindeer for being cocky.
I was saying for sure I would go for Blitzen because Blitzen has a shitty attitude.
Yeah.
And then he went into this very emotionally intelligent
Oh yeah, yeah,
monologue
it's Santa.
about hey, I think he was saying, you know, that's just the way Blitzen is, and we can't control how he is, but we can control how
we react to him.
and how we respond to him. And I was just like, holy, and that threw me off. I was like, holy shit, Santa is very emotionally intelligent.
Yeah, well, I mean, he has to
you
be.
My therapist, Santa
Like,
Claus?
he has to be.
I guess it makes sense. It's kind of on brand, yeah.
I mean, he has to be in order to kind of be able to make the tough calls. Like, obviously, you've got the kids that are very bad, and you've got the kids that are very good, and then you probably have a lot of kids that are somewhere in between. Like, how much badness is enough to put you into the naughty category?
Yeah, and I mean, you know, I tried to trip him up and see, you know, get him to admit to some infidelity and maybe committing adultery with, you know, there's a world full of moms that I'm sure find him, you know, attractive. Yeah, no, he was very loyal to Mrs. Claus. He didn't trip up.
I'd hate to think what kind of curveballs you'd throw me.
I don't know. I mean, I was trying to break Santa.
Oh yeah. There was a nice new toy at your doorstep, and the first thing that you think to do is break it.
Well, you know,
I can't
I'm already
stand
on the
people
naughty
like
list.
you.
I might as well just go for broke. It's Santa, okay? Everyone's always kissing his ass. Like I had to ask him some of the tougher questions. You know, people are always throwing him softballs. Like, nah.
Well, you know he's owned by the Coca-Cola Corporation. You know that, right?
Exactly. No, he was very diplomatic. He did not lose that endorsement. So good for him.
Yeah, it was that emotional intelligence.
There was this whole thing too where like Mariah Carey always calls herself the Queen of Christmas. So I was trying to see if he was kind of like if he had a chip on his shoulder about that, if he felt like she was stealing some of the limelight away from him. And he threw a little bit of shade at her, but he was still pretty diplomatic.
Yeah, it seems like the only person that Santa had any sort of issue with was you. And that's just because you were a goblin.
He was still very... Yeah, exactly. Well, see, that was fun because he did not know that he was speaking to a cartoon goblin. He knew he was... I kind of gauge it depending on the guest. And sometimes I feel like it's kind of fun They know they're on a, like, he knew he was on a live stream, but he did not know he was talking to a cartoon goblin. And that was, I was trying to ask him like some leading questions, and I thought his confusion would be a little fun. Because I kept kind of going back to the goblin topic and asking him about goblins. I wanted his unfiltered responses, so that was pretty fun.
Right, and we found out that Santa is of that generation.
Exactly. So it was actually a good thing I did not come clean to him about being a goblin, because evidently we're an inferior species in his eyes.
He's
sticking with the elves.
That stream would have gotten very interesting had he knew, I think.
I was thinking about revealing it, but I don't think he would have.
I don't think he would have appreciated it. He probably would have accused you of eating elves or something.
Yeah. No, I know. Some of them grasp the whole VTubing thing, and others don't. There are a couple times where I've told a guest too, where like, you're gonna be interviewed by a cartoon goblin, and it just confuses the hell out of them. And that's the other thing. I want each guest to sort of
understand the situation a little
authentic. No, yeah, I want them to understand the situation, but I also don't want to throw them or make them feel like they have to act a certain way.
Right. And that kind of goes back to how they treated the guests on Space Ghost, I think. Like, I know that
I don't want them to get too into their head, like, oh, I'm talking to a cartoon goblin, so I have to like really, I'm on a cartoon, so I better act a certain way. Sometimes with guests like Tan Mom, I know it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter who she's talking to. She's going to be Tan Mom regardless.
Mm-hmm. Well, some of the guests on the Space Ghost show, you could tell that some of them were just doing an interview like they would do any other interview. And then you had people who would actually just like lean into the whole Space Ghost thing and like ask him to shoot them with his laser or something.
Yeah. Sometimes it would work really well, and other times like they're just cheesing it up a little too much, you know?
I feel like in the situations where they did that, they like edited them anyway, so that even though they were cheesing it, it was like still funny.
Yeah, which that's, you know, they had the luxury of editorial in a show like that. I have to try and set up the pieces to unfold in real time, which is kind of tricky, but
yeah.
No, it's so fun. I mean, and some of my favorite Space Ghost segments are the ones where they don't even really acknowledge that he is Space Ghost or that they're on a cartoon, you know, where they're literally just the absurdity of having a very seemingly genuine conversation between, you know, a vintage cartoon character and a D-list celebrity. I don't know, there's something about that.
Mm-hmm. What are you talking about, D-list? Weird Al was on that show.
Well, I'm not categorizing him in there, but
yeah,
there were a few people that were questionable. They did get some amazing guests on that show, though. Kind of like Eric Andre's show. I'm always kind of like amazed that they convince certain people to go on there.
No, I think that what you're doing is it's very unique. It stands out from the rest of the kind of VTubing chaff. And I think that if you,
thank you. That means a lot.
I think if you carry it forward and develop it in ways that you think it will need to go, then I think you might have something pretty special on your hands.
Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. And yeah, you know, it's evolving. You know, I try to introduce new elements every stream. I've been working on it a ton, and yeah, it's definitely something I'm passionate about. I'm really finding a lot of creative fulfillment with it, so it's not going to go away anytime soon, and I'm just going to continue to try and find my voice and grow the idea and just kind of see where it takes me.
Where do you think it will take you? Do you have anything that you've been wanting to do, or kind of experimental things that you're thinking of?
I want to do... that's a great question. Thank you for asking that. And I have some ideas where I want to try and kind of weave a narrative, like almost a story, into an episode where I'm interviewing a real person, but then have like a very loose narrative or story that kind of unfolds through the course of the interview or the stream. So I want to try and incorporate some elements of like what I do in my day job. Like I want to have some cutaway animation. I want to get Goblin out from behind the desk occasionally. I want to incorporate in an upcoming stream. I'm going to incorporate some kind of mixed media elements, some live action cutaways that I've filmed. I want to get a little more experimental with it and kind of bring in these elements of scripted animation into a live show, which I think will be really interesting, especially on live stream.
No, I think that's kind of the natural progression of what you've got here. Like, I can see that very easily being kind of like different pieces of the puzzle that you're kind of fitting together to make something cohesive.
Exactly. And I like the idea again of just like stitching these things. Like there's a thrill to it, like trying to stitch that together in real time is kind of like a challenge that I'm interested in figuring out.
Do you know who
yeah, the idea of having like a narrative would be really fun. Like something simple, you know, like nothing to start anyways, but just like some kind of a story or a plot line that unfolds through a real interaction or in a real interview. That just feels interesting to me.
Do you know who Jason Steele is?
I don't.
Have you heard of Charlie the Unicorn?
Oh yeah, of course.
Jason Steele is a person who made Charlie the Unicorn. He is a YouTube animator, writer, and voice actor. And he is doing something right now called Vulo Lives, which it is his VTuber show. And it's very much a Jason Steele joint. It has a lot of his character in it. And I feel like
down. Vulo, V-U-L-O?
V-U-L-O. Vulo the Face Stealer.
Lives.
He's doing a little bit of what I think you might be going for. There's a lot of pre-scripted stuff that he does and uploads to his channel. He sometimes also streams with Vulo. And there are those sort of like cutaway elements that can be seen, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. No, it totally does. That's something that I would like to explore. So I'll definitely check that out.
I feel like you could. I feel like you could get some inspiration from that.
Yeah, for sure. No, I love that. Thank you so much for the recommendation. I'll definitely check that out because it definitely sounds like the type of thing I would like to work towards.
Yeah. I would say go to Jason Steele's
have some fun
YouTube channel and just watch a few of their Vulo Lives streams. Those are actually the pre-scripted ones, but I think it'll give you some ideas.
So is he streaming like something that's already been pre-produced, or is it actually happening live?
So
like,
he has done
canned bits into the live stream.
Well, he has done live streamed bits that are a little bit more impromptu, but the ones that are uploaded on his YouTube are the ones that are written and produced and not done live. But in that same vein, they're kind of performed live because he uses a lot of live 2D and VTubing elements.
Gotcha. Okay, I see. That's cool. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
See, and I get that because, yeah, I would like to do something like that, but actually have it unfold live and in real time. There's something about real-time animation that's really exciting to me, especially working in animation. And I mean, I already like VTubing seems to slowly be starting to creep into the mainstream. They just did that like SpongeBob live thing with the Super Bowl, which was really interesting to see a mainstream audience's reaction to it, which it was pretty positive, and that was kind of exciting because there were a lot of technical issues with that. It was very imperfect. It was it didn't look the best. There were a lot of VTubers that actually looked better than what they were able to pull off on, you know, Super Bowl Nickelodeon money. But it's still exciting to see that this has legs. You know what I mean?
Well,
People are
when you get
interested.
down to it, what we're doing here, even though there's a lot of electronic widgets and gadgets involved, it's a puppet show. What we're doing is a puppet show.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's true. That's a
So,
really interesting. Just a good summary of it. It's very. It's true.
I think it might help to approach it from that sort of viewpoint where this is a puppet show.
Yeah, that's a really good way. It's very succinct. A good way to just explain it. To
Yeah.
people.
And
It is just a
I heard somebody
2D
say
puppet
something
show.
that kind of stuck with me a little while ago, and it's kind of developing your character and what you want to play at when you're streaming, because the saying was nobody goes to the puppet show to see the puppeteer.
Interesting.
Yeah. Now that
That
might be a
is.
little different with the VTubing thing, because there are some people who just feel comfortable putting the mask on and having that anonymity and to just be themselves. But there are some people that really do want to push a kind of character-driven thing.
And I love that. I wish I had the patience for that. I just don't have. I just like I just sometimes I'm in character and sometimes I'm not. And at
Yeah.
first, when I first started this, I kind of had that debate with myself where I was like, should I put on a voice? Should I really lean into a
Show us your goblin
persona or a
voice. Show us your
character?
goblin voice.
Oh my god. Well, I was like, well, I'm not a voice actor, so I was like, first of all, anything I do is just going to sound strained and probably won't be able to maintain it anyway. But no, I kind of appreciate both sides of it, and it is true. Like, there are certain VTubers where they're fully committed to the bit and the character, and I fucking love and respect that. But then there are other VTubers where I get it, the character is just sort of like an extension of themselves, and their personality is already so appealing and
Yeah.
personable and interesting.
Yeah,
That
if
it's
you've
like,
got the
what?
charisma,
I
then
like.
you don't really need to mask it, I suppose.
Yeah, true. And sometimes it is easier to have the charisma or the confidence when you're playing a character. So I totally understand that too.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things that I was debating is, like, when I designed this character, I wanted it to be very sort of, it can be masculine or feminine. It can have, different appearances. I wanted it to be a very trans-friendly character, even though I myself am not trans. And one of the things that I
But
was
I love
thinking,
that. It gives you the freedom to perform and kind of take it in so many different directions.
yeah, but one of the things that I was thinking about is, do I actually want to do anything with my voice? Which, do I want to do something feminine or masculine, or do use a voice changer even? Which some people use the voice changers. And at the end of the day, I thought it would be more charming to just not. So, like, I have the one voice. This is my voice, and I kind of play it off like, this is just how I sound. Even when I'm putting on like a feminine appearance.
I kind of like that too, though. I feel the same because I don't feel like my voice matches Goblin whatsoever, but I also kind of find the humor in that it's like,
Yeah.
here's this little weird little goblin with
I mean,
just
you're
like
clearly not like other
a kind
goblins.
of deadpan man's voice,
Yeah. It's what makes us special, I suppose.
No, I like it. I mean, there's no wrong way. That's the beauty of all of this, right? There's no right or wrong way. There's no rule book for it. It's, if you find something that works and resonates for viewers and also just for yourself, I think more importantly, you just got to do
For
what.
yourself, yeah.
I think the second you start to try pleasing other people or follow the meta or whatever, you're kind of lost, and it's not going to
Like,
happen.
I know some folks that are twisting themselves into knots to follow the algorithm, or tame the algorithm, or please the algorithm, and it's all this kind of pagan god bullshit. Like, obviously they're trying their best, and
I hate that shit.
I'm not going to talk down about them but it's just not for me. Like, I've had people
Yeah,
kind of
and I don't.
I've
No,
had
I
people
hate
kind of
that
give
shit
me
as in,
advice.
I
It's
hate
like,
the pressure.
yeah, go
I
ahead.
hate that pressure of like you have to feed the algorithm and follow. I feel like that kills creativity to a certain degree. I mean, because if we're all just sort of following the same dangling carrot, we're all going to end up doing the same thing. And
Well,
I get why people want to do that,
my big issue is that the algorithm is this unknowable thing. It can't be predicted. It can't be known. It's always shifting, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. Like, especially when you get social media involved, there's these basically like old wives' tales going around. Is like you have to make a second post. You can't put too many pictures. You have to use more hashtags. You can't block too many people. You can't. It's all these like just rules upon rules that nobody can really even verify.
Yeah, I know. It is kind of true. But also just following the trends and yeah, trying to figure out and crack the algorithm. It's just kind of, I don't know. It's too much. It's like, and it kind of defeats the purpose
It's
of
too
why
much
I'm
for
doing it.
people
I
like
get it.
me
If it's,
that just want this to be a hobby.
yeah, same here. Like I get it. If this is your full-time gig, yeah, obviously you want to like maximize engagement and everything like that. But yeah, I mean, look, for me personally, the second I try to treat this like it is my job, it's going to kill it for me. So it
Uh-huh.
needs to be playtime for me.
Yeah, there's a
And maybe
buddy that
some
I
things will
talked
stick
to,
and yeah.
who I've kind of joked that I want to drag him into the VTubing world, and he's just an extremely genuine person. And the moment that he um, tries to put on an act, even if it is just like a fake character act, he kind of puts it in the same camp as like overreacting to a horror stream or pretending to be one way or the other. And he if it doesn't feel completely genuine to him, it starts making him feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, same. I mean, I get the appeal. Like part of me feels like, oh man, yeah, it would be really fun to like play a character and really lean into that, and I can see the appeal in that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the pressure to continue that, I don't know.
I mean,
And also,
I think
I
that
want
we're in situations where
I want to be
it's
authentic.
yeah. Well, I mean, I've had to say to people, it's like, look, I know that I'm carrying the bit here, but I really am a genuine person. Please believe me.
No, I love it. Hey, I love commitment to a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to have it both ways, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just want to, I want to be
Have our
myself,
cake and
and
eat
I
it too.
also, exactly, I want to play the bit when I'm in the mood to, and I want to be just my regular self when it suits the mood as well.
Yeah. Oh, that's Big Red.
Well, that's a big,
That's Big Red. That
that's
means
Big
we're
Red.
almost out of time.
Hey, Big Red.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Thanks for having me, Big Red. Bye.
So it looks like we're nearing the end
Yeah.
of our time. We've gone about 2.5 hours. I think that's pretty good.
It flew by. Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
Big Red did fly
Appreciate.
by.
And hey, don't pull any punches. I totally respect and appreciate the fact that you don't want to step on anyone's toes, but by all means, when you're in chat, if you have a funny line, throw it out there because I love it. Your sense of
I
humor is
will.
always a lot of fun.
I will. And I think that I want to move on to what am I trying to say? When Jim Henson made the Muppet Show, what he would do with his guests was he had planned on giving each of them like a Muppet version of themselves. And he did that for maybe 2 or 3 episodes.
Oh, interesting.
But like if you watch early seasons of the Muppet Show, you can see the celebrity guest with like their Muppet version of themselves. And I don't know why they stopped doing that, but I wonder how much those puppets go for, honestly. But the reason
they would actually perform as they were to actually be operating the puppet.
I don't think so. I think it was something that they would just get at the end, like a parting gift.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I
Wow,
wanted
that
to
would be
actually
amazing.
introduce a parting gift here. I actually
Oh my
have
God.
something for you, Goblin.
What?
Yeah. Let's see here. Right here.
No gift for you, Skull. You're just lucky to be here, dude. Oh my god, look at that.
Yeah. That's something you can just take home there.
Thank you so much.
That's
oh my god, I love it.
That's a little
Just put
version
it
of
right
me.
over top of Skull. Just cover. Yeah, that's the spot. Perfect. It goes right there. Yep.
I want you to have
Perfect. Beautiful. He's never looked so good.
it. that is stylish. Well, no, I think it looks stylish on him.
Or just a total replacement next stream. Skull will be gone, and I'll just have this beautiful potted plant in his place.
Yeah, so maybe use that to spruce your place up a little bit, get some air flowing in there. I think you'll find that it can make a world of difference.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm notorious for killing plants. So this thing, it's beautiful, and I appreciate it, but once I bring it down into the Goblin Grotto, it's probably only gonna live for like a day.
Yeah, we'll see.
Just be a withered, crusted pile.
I think if you put your mind to it, you could make some good use of it.
It's Skull's job. Skull, you finally have something to do. You gotta care for the beautiful plant gifted to us by Belrose. Thank you, though. I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I'm counting on you then, Scully.
Look, he already...
He's speechless. Look at it.
He doesn't have a lot of responsibility. He's got to learn responsibility eventually. I know, I want to say something, but he's going to throw the plant off.
It's okay. I put it on there pretty good.
Balance.
I put it on there really good.
It's not going anywhere.
But, maybe some responsibilities will kind of give him a little bit of maturity.
It's good for the boy. He's got to learn eventually.
Yeah. You take care of this, maybe we'll think about giving you a body.
Exactly. You gotta earn that.
Earn your
that
body
pelvic
privileges.
bone.
Yeah. We'll get you a neck bone this Christmas and see how you do with that.
Yeah, one bone at a time. Let's not go nuts. We'll give him a vertebrae to start, and maybe a toe bone, something simple. We'll start him out easy.
Yeah. Anyway, that has been Gardenside Chat. I appreciate everyone who came by and listened. I appreciate you, Goblin, a very interesting individual. I hope that you get out of your cave more often. I wonder what it must be like inside that cave. Maybe I could see it someday.
Yeah, I would love to have you. Have not had any guests in the cave itself thus far, but that's something I would like to do. So
it's not a mess, is
anytime. Oh, it's a complete mess. I already told you. There's no plumbing.
So wait, hang on. I kind of glanced over that. There's no plumbing. So what do you do for your stuff that you do?
Well, I mean, I have a potted plant now, so that's gonna help. We'll fertilize it real good. Don't worry.
Bah? Good night, everybody.
You told me to care for it. I mean.